Hello, telling me I'm live. Never quite know whether to believe it or not, but let's say hello to everybody. Oh, mouse up to its tricks before we even get going. Right, oh, Mike was first. Hello, Mike. Although Debbie says, well done, Jonathan. So I think Jonathan appeared and disappeared. Poor Jonathan.
Jonathan was first.
And then what happened?
What happened was I went in and I had to check that that add-in thing that saves the chat was working. So I typed hello. And
Jonathan vanished.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Jonathan. No, Jonathan, you were first. It was YouTube. Anyway, hello, Debbie. Today will be the first show on Debbie's new iMac. Yay! Hello, Carol. Hello, Needlework Tips. Cool name.
That's Carol under a different
It's Carol with
under a different
incognito,
guise.
Isn't it? We've got a full complement of Carols. So hello, Carol. Hello, Ignacio. And who else have we got? We got Kim. And there's Jonathan for real this time. And Renee. And Graham. Hello, Graham. Oh, now there was an issue with food this week. Wasn't it something went up 25%? Oh, yes, I know what it was, because I'm going to have to mention it tomorrow on by request. Yes, you know the salted caramels that we adore?
Yeah.
That were £5, and then when they're on offer, they're £3.50. That's when to buy. They've gone up to £5.90.
Oh.
It was seeing Graham that reminded me, because I always think of Graham and I think of treats. So hopefully I've not missed anybody. Hello, Peter, who had a birthday this week. So congratulations. Hello, Paul. Who else have we got? Have I got everybody? Have I missed somebody?
No, we've got Sue.
Hello, Sue. I've not got that far yet. I am so far behind. Hello, right, I think I've got everybody. If I haven't, sincere apologies. Tell me in the chat, and then I won't ever do that again. Why have I got things backing
And Renee's
up?
on 1060. That's a new one.
That is a new one.
Yeah.
I've got reminders popping up telling me it's backed up. That's because I didn't turn them off. You know that checklist that I'm going to be talking about? Should actually use it, shouldn't I? All will be revealed. Right, first off, it's incredibly warm, so I'm not a happy bunny. I'm never happy when it's this hot. It is actually raining, though. So I'm trying to work out why the rain is coming down and it's like boiling water. But hopefully it will get cooler as we go on. Otherwise the equipment might just decide to take an early nap. That has happened before. But let's get on with it. Oh, Graham's having to head off early. I hope it's for treats, or are you having the treats early? Let me know. Right, okay, let's get going then. Where did that mouse pointer go? It's flying around all over the place. I should really use an Apple mouse, shouldn't I? Think that'd probably solve the problem, but never mind. Right, what have we got this week? Notion block by block. If you were at Notion block by block, let me know in the chat before we talk about it. Then there's an update to ScreenFlow 10. I know it was only released last week, but we already have an update, and it's quite an important update. Then I'm showing you behind the scenes of Ship 30 for 30, which is a writing course, although course is a bit of an odd word, but I guess it is. So I'll show you that. Mike has got cube functions, part 2. Then we've had a request for PDF Expert, so I have PDF Expert for you. The Mac version. We already did the iOS version, but it was a long time ago. The major difference between the iOS version then and now is the price, because I went back and had a look. It was fine when it was $10. Yeah, but now it's $90. No, leave it alone. But I will talk about the Mac version of that. And then we have an unboxing. The unboxing is rather interesting. It's not one of something, let's put it like that. Right, but you need to make sure that you're in 1080p. So what are you in at the moment? It dumped me this week into, and would not be told otherwise, into what it called. It's now got modes, you know. Let me know if you can see the mode names, Mike. But this was data saving mode at 480. The fact I couldn't see it seemed to be irrelevant to them.
No, I just see numbers.
So what I did was I tapped on, high quality, and I went back and I refreshed, and then it came back and it said 480. And I thought, what part of high quality? So in the end, I had to go for custom and actually type in 1080. And finally, it let me have what I wanted in the first place. So YouTube playing with our mind, as usual. Right, while you're down there is a like button. You could click that like button and that would make me very happy, and it would make YouTube happy as well. So, what have we been doing this week? It wasn't our holiday, and I must admit, I think I need a holiday. I've only been back at work since
Stephen's
Wednesday.
been enjoying your 30-30.
Oh, good. To hear me in a different format. Oh, it's very tricky. I'll give you that. It's tricky. I'm so used to talking or a podcast or a video demonstration, and I started this 30 for 30 with like, what am I going to write about? And luckily I found stuff so far. So I'm 7 days in today, but we're in jeopardy mode because I've got 2 hours 52 minutes to get the last one up for today. So I thought I'd do it with you. So that's the plan. Right, so how was the week? Started well, 10 shows. Yeah, 10 shows. This was Saturday. But the thing was, Saturday was also the first day of Ship 30 for 30. So I must admit that this bit's funny. That was my first essay. Atomic essays they are, 250 words. I didn't read the writing prompt. I'd totally forgotten they were going to send a writing prompt. So I wrote what I thought was a good idea to talk about, which was showing your work. When I then read the writing prompt, there were 4 questions, and I'd answered all of them in that, so I thought, must have the second sight. But we also marooned at MacBites headquarters, and you know what Saturday's like. 8 p.m, chaos reigns. So we went into Brooklyn's 196 by request, where it was Armed Forces Day. So that was the theme. It was, what do we actually say? Songs for those who have served and those who continue to serve. So the songs were amazing. Honestly, it's amazing how you can fit a favourite song of yours into virtually any theme. But we had an absolute blast on Saturday. Which took me on to Sunday. And, high on my success from Saturday, day 2 hit. Didn't get any easier. But I decided to take the advice of write what you know about. So screencasting it was then. Mindful, just come out of the there's a new version of ScreenFlow thing. Worked really well. Right, Monday. Yeah, by this stage, I was exhausted. First day back after the holiday and all of that. And it was, you've got to write an essay. And I thought, no, make it stop. But I'd committed. And I publicly committed with you, haven't I? So, Stephen's quite right here. Excellent idea, Elaine, doing it live during the show, but I'm not sure you have any other option at this stage on a Friday night. But the thing is, Stephen, it's already written. I just want to show you the process, because honestly, the first day, I'm like, because it's Twitter, right? We need to employ Twitter in this, and I'm looking at Twitter with like, I have no idea what this is. I've only ever used for the last, gosh, it must be 8 or 9 years, Tweetbot, and this is, you've got to go on the Twitter website, and I'm like, what are all these adverts? What's all these trending things? I've not got a clue. So I have had to leave my comfort zone, hence exhaustion on day 3. But by Tuesday, I had to drag my sorry self out of bed and get on with it. Because Tuesday was Block by Block Europe, which was all to do with Notion. It was Notion's first summit. Bringing together the community was the idea of it. If you missed it, not a panic, I'm going to talk about it shortly. So you will be able to catch up if you missed it. But Tuesday's biggest news, it was everywhere. There was no escaping it. England were playing Germany. Now, in all my life in a competition, England have never beaten Germany. No, that is so sad. But by some miracle, Tuesday was it. Mike, of course, had managed to double book himself on a webinar. So I'm in the office with like, yay, keep it down. There would have been much screaming because we actually won a match. First time in my life. Do you know, I was so jealous of my dad. He was alive when they won the World Cup. I arrived 9 months later, saying nothing more about that. Which took me on to Wednesday. We were still celebrating on Wednesday. To be honest, we've not stopped celebrating since. But yeah, it was good to wake up and hear that it wasn't a dream. Because for many, many years, it's just been, yep, it's a dream. One day you might beat the Germans. But we did. We actually did. I thought it was really funny when they showed you William and Kate and George. George, in that photo, he's clapping. But the bit I saw, he just looked like he had no idea what was going on. And I thought, pretty much that's how the rest of us are. You're just a lot younger. Now, Thursday, I was exhausted. Literally, it was too hot. I had to write again. And all I wanted to do was sleep somewhere cool. So it was all a bit sad panda. But we did have fun on Marooned. However, what happens on Marooned stays on Marooned. But it is available on demand. So what happens on Marooned stays on Marooned, lest we get slung off YouTube. But if you were there on Thursday night, you'll know what an absolute ball we did have. See what I did there, Mike? Clever that. Which takes us on to tonight. Oh, Carol was alive, but only a baby the last time England beat Germany. It is that match. It's the grudge match, you know. And I wondered if I'd lived to see the day that they would win, but they did. Obviously, they've got another match tomorrow now, so that's going to be home before the postcards, doubtless. But you know, we beat Germany, so nothing else matters. So tonight it was Asda. Mike's, you're sucking Tesco's off a lot, aren't you? Been very unfaithful to Wendy.
There was things I wanted that Tesco's don't sell.
That's actually quite true, and some of them are ice cream, aren't they? Ooh.
Chocolate-covered honeycomb.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing that Asda sell and Tesco's don't. So you see, this Tesco, if you're listening, this is why we went with Asda. So you need to stock chocolate honeycomb. I mean, who doesn't need chocolate honeycomb? And, of course, it's Two Show Friday. So, there we go. Right. So, I'm loving that day. I'd just begun to block out Marooned until that ball pun. You see what I did there? That was very subtle, be honest. If you weren't there, it'd passed you by, that. Now we've pointed out, of course it won't. So, let's have a look at the first topic, which is Notion block by block. Right, this was advertised about a month ago. There wasn't much detail about what it was going to be. Other than when it was, which was Tuesday, 29th, from 1 o'clock to 5:25, it said, British summertime. That's not what happened. It started...
That was a bit precise, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? I wondered if it had anything to do with the game, but I don't think so. What happened was, it did kick off at 1 o'clock. There was a schedule to follow along. So there was going to be a keynote from the CEO of Notion. And then that was going to be followed with some presentations. And then there was going to be breakouts and you could pick what you wanted, was the story. Then we were all coming back together and it was going to be grand. So it got going. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hopin, which is in the top left here, Hopin. It's a bit like... I don't really want to say it's like Zoom because it's very passive for the viewers. You're not appearing on video or anything, but the concept's similar enough, right? We all rock up and we can chat and we can all watch a video. No, I didn't know why they didn't use YouTube either. It was appalling. As an advert for Hopin, it was shocking. There was that many people there, and time-wise, this would have been 5 a.m. On the West Coast. So there weren't many people there who weren't from EMEA. But it was shocking. And the chat was going that fast with people saying there's a lag on the video. There's a lag on the audio. Did I mention there's a lag on the video? So all that happened was then everything got worse and worse and worse. And the chat was flying past that quickly you couldn't see it. So if you didn't get to see this live... you missed nothing, because luckily it's recorded. Now, when I say recorded, they promised us they would record the live sessions. What does that imply? Well, to me, it implied that this was a live event. Yeah. So the guy that introduced it it looked like he was at home, actually. But he was announcing that they have their first European office. So Notion have opened their first European office in Dublin. And he was from Dublin. But like I say, it looked like he was at home. So he introduced the CEO, who started talking. This was then out of sync. So the slides didn't match what he was saying, and this agonisingly went on for 15 minutes. Once he there were lots of comments coming in then in red, and the red comments were from the staff. And they were saying, we're sorting out the lag, we're sorting out the lag. At which point the CEO started speaking again, taking it from the top, which would have been fine. He wasn't repeating himself, though. It was identical, word for word, gesture for gesture, at which point the chat realised this wasn't live. It was a pre-record. The chat went mental. You can't do that. Look, if you say you're doing a live summit, for all that's sacred, do a live summit. This is not the first one that has billed itself as a live summit and then it turns into the fact that no, it's not. There were bits of it that were live, including the segues, which were pretty much sorry for the lag. Did we mention we're sorry for the lag? But that was it. So once I'd done, I picked a breakout room and then I went back to the main stage and it was like, who locked the door? Because at that point, that was it.
Not like us. We're really live.
We're really live.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You know, if stuff happens, it's just stuff. We're live.
It says 21:19 on Friday the 2nd.
There you go. That's why I don't bother hiding the clock anymore. I used to hide the clock. But now it's actually easier if you can see the clock, so you can use it to navigate. Obviously, you can't when I'm doing slides. But there you go. We're really live. Oh. Right. So that was what happened. Now, the good news is, once we've got over all of that, there were some sessions that you might be interested in. One was how Notion used Notion. Again, it wasn't live, it was a pre-record, but it might as well have been live because you coughed her way through it. That was showing you behind the scenes of Notion. But the thing was, while they were doing that, they did say things like, this isn't the real data. I'm thinking, well, that's not exactly behind the scenes then, is it? But that was what happened. They had 4 customers in that did 4 demos between them of how they used it. To be honest, nothing you've not seen before, but, you know, you might want to watch it. And then they've put in here 3. And the session that I went to was the how to build with the Notion API, but block by block. But there was supposed to be something like 20 sessions, so I don't know where the others are, is the short answer to that. I have no idea where the others are, whether they intend to put them up or not. And certainly the last one, which was supposed to be there, but then wasn't there, and just disappeared. So I have no idea why there's only 5 videos. But the bits that I saw, and I've noticed from the 5 videos that's there, because it says one unavailable video is hidden. Lovely. The introduction by the CEO isn't there. Mind you, I've seen that twice anyway. But there you go. So that was block by block Europe. If they do that again, I think it's unlikely they'll use hopping. And I think they may have learnt something about how to do something live, which is, you know, make sure it's live. Rule 1, make sure it's live. But that was it. So let me know, did you watch? Or was it only me suffering? I've no idea.
I think it was only you.
Just me then, fair enough. I thought it was going to be good. I really did. But
you did ask me if I was going.
Well, the thing was, you know, that makes it even worse, right? You've got a schedule and you tell people what that is. And they were trying to go for 4.5 hours. I can't really criticise this because we've done this. With 2 breaks, a 10-minute break and a 5-minute break. But the thing was, because of this lag at the beginning, they were already behind at 1:15. So it was, well, we'll dump the breaks. So they gave you like 2 minutes to, you know, to bathroom break. And then later on, there was like a 5-minute break that was just like, well, we won't bother. And then they went straight into the other stuff. Oh, there was a jazz thing going on as well, like an entertainment. But again, I couldn't really find them. So I think if they do it again, it'll be a better bet. So I suffered for you, so you didn't have to. But if Mike can put the link into the playlist...
I've done it.
Excellent. Then you can watch at your leisure. And I heartily recommend that would be much better than watching it live.
That really isn't live.
It's not live, no. But at least no one's trying to tell you that it is. Crying out loud, honestly, you had one job. If I can do it live by myself, I am actually producing myself. So when we go from screen to screen, I have to do that as well. And I'm doing everything. It's like a one-man band. It can be done. Don't make it difficult. Right, ScreenFlow 10. We looked at it last week. I had downloaded the trial version direct from their website, but there was a couple of issues that I mentioned. One was, because on I actually do have a Biggles machine. I have Big Sur on a laptop. It was a hideous mistake, but I'm stuck with it. So what I wanted to put on there was the App Store version. But the App Store version, not available. They were still selling ScreenFlow 9, if you remember, which I thought was a bit shonky. So I had to wait for ScreenFlow 10 to get it on the laptop so I could actually show you the other features that I couldn't show you because they only work on Big Sur. So that was part one. That was the first issue that I had. The second issue I had was why, when it had been released, do we not have the Mac App Store version? And the problem was they discovered a bug in it and had pulled it. So it was available for sale for 30 seconds and then it disappeared. Fine, but don't start selling ScreenFlow 9 again. But they did. Anyway, I sat there and every 2 hours I was awake, I was checking the App Store. Now you might think, well, why? You could have just followed them on Twitter and they'd have told you when it was out. No, they don't want you to buy the App Store version because you are a customer of Apple. You are not a customer of Telestream. So they're not overly keen. They put it in the App Store under duress for people that want to buy it from the App Store. It took days and days and days, but finally it appeared. This was the small hours of Wednesday. And I saw it, and $48.99 is the cheapest it would ever be. Now, last week we discussed what they actually said in their press release was there will be no reduction in the App Store. But I didn't believe them. I thought, you don't want to miss it if there is, so keep looking, keep looking. So I bought it from the App Store for $48.99, small hours of Wednesday. I also had to hack into Mike's machine and buy it for him as well, because the alternative was getting him out of bed. And seeing as though he'd only been in there about 2 hours, I thought, no, let's just try and it was like, where's Mike's Apple ID password? Where's Mike's money? And can I spend some of it for him? Anyway, I managed it, didn't I? Quite successfully.
Yes. And
then I even shared an Apple Note with him that I left open on his screen with an arrow up to the App Store that I'd also left open. And then I bought you this when it became available because it was on offer. This is how life goes here. However, and I was hoping that it was still going to be there tonight at that price. Normally what they do is up it $20 at a time. This time, no. $149.99. It went straight from $48.99 to $149.99. So hopefully you managed to get it. If not, it is available in the App Store, but it's the full price. You might still find that it's more cost effective from the App Store, even at full price, because you can install it on any number of Macs that Apple will let you install it on. The direct version from them is activated and you cannot. So that was the big difference, which is why I buy it twice. But I haven't actually bought the original version yet. It was a busy week, what can I say? So that's part one of that, okay. Next part of that is I need to do jiggery pokery. Let's see if this will work. It'd be a miracle if it does. Right, to dimension producing myself. Right, I'm going to switch machines. This is my Biggles machine. So excuse any squeaking while I move the microphone. Right, this is my Biggles machine. And on my Biggles machine, I have ScreenFlow 10 from the App Store. There it is. So first thing I had to do was give it all the permissions. The permissioning was exactly the same as it was on Catalina. So that was no issue at all. But the issue is, it's the interface. So if I go down to New Document and I do the New Document thing, you get a new document and it looks fairly similar, doesn't it? Fairly similar, just not identical. So what I'm going to do is open the same version and get a new document on there. So let's do a new document on there and show you the differences. So what you're looking at is Biggles, and what that looks like on Catalina is that. Are we now seeing Catalina? I think we are, aren't we? We should be. So at the top here, you have Untitled in the middle. I've got Buy Now because this is direct from them. But other than that, I have no other menu bar or anything. Nothing snazzy going on at the top. But if we go back to the Biggles machine, which we are now seeing, you will see at the top it looks totally different. So the Untitled, which is talking about the title of the current document, is over on the left-hand side. Over on the right-hand side, you've got 20%, which is the view that you've got at the moment. So if you take that to 100, it'll shoot off and be almighty large, or take it down tiny. So that's what that is. You've also got the crop tool and the share tool. Now that is what it looks like by default. The only other button that you've got on there is this one over on the left-hand side, which is the clip editor. So that you can open and close. You can also, over on this side, or I thought you could, we could close that one. I swear there was a button there 2 seconds ago. Let me do a full screen on that. There it is. It's that button there. And that will toggle off all of the stuff you actually need, to be honest, which is all of your properties for various elements of media. So I always leave that open. But the interesting point is this bit at the top. You do have these tools, which is the default that they want you to have, but you can also toggle in here to customize them. So as well as having icons and text, so you know which is which, what it's actually doing, or icon only, which is the default, or you can even have it as text only if you prefer that. I'll go back to icon only, which is the default, but you can go in and you can customize that. So I looked at, there's not much in the way of customization. I mean, they've added it, but you've got 8 options, for crying out loud. One of those is the inspector, which you're bound to have turned on. The other's a clip editor, which you're bound to have turned on, because otherwise you're going to have to go through the menu, which leaves you with 6. Of those 6, 3 are already turned on, so basically you're left with 3. But they could be important. In fact, no, 4, because insert's turned on as well. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, everything apart from group and ungroup was already turned on. But I thought, do you know what? Group and ungroup are probably what I'd use the most. So, you just drag them up to that area, and they twang into place. So I want that one on the other side, which I have not managed to totally pick up. I'm on a trackpad. I'm not good on a trackpad. There we go. And done. So that's all the tools you can actually put up there, but it is nice to have them available up there. If you are a Camtasia user, you're probably rolling on the floor laughing at the moment, because all of these tools, and many, many more besides, are available down the bottom near the timeline, where you would probably use them. But it's a new feature, and I couldn't show it to you because I couldn't buy it from the App Store because it wasn't available in the App Store. I now, looking at that, wish that it looked like that in Catalina. I'm going to have to accept, aren't I, Mike, that sooner or later I'm going to have to do the Biggles thing. Might as well wait till...
Carol wants to know if you can play a section of a video in reverse.
Yes, you can. That's an action, isn't it? Ooh.
Somebody asked you about that years ago, didn't they?
Yes, and at the time you couldn't. But yes, you can. I need to remember how exactly you do that. I'd imagine it's a filter and an effect. But I haven't actually got anything recorded in there at the moment, have I? Okay. Do we have a sample? No, I don't think we even have a sample project, do we? Okay, what we'll do is we'll do can we add a recording to this? You should see the angle I'm working at here. This is on a totally different desk. I tell you what we'll do. We'll come out of there, and then we'll go back into it, making sure we got the right version. 10.
Kim says, so you have to purchase and then pay annually.
No, the in-app purchase is nothing to do with that. That's really bad on their part. It's nothing to do with the app at all. It's stock. It's just the stock media. So if you go to stock media, that is the in-app purchase. So it pulls in live some kind of promo stuff. And it's £67.99, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure in the direct version it's £60. But all it is stock media. And to be honest, your £68 would be far better spent on Envato Elements, which gives you a whole range. All you'll get here is video clips, audio clips and photos. But if you, and you might get a couple of no, I don't think they do. Camtasia do, but they don't. So you basically, that's all you'll get. But if you take out a subscription to Envato Elements, you get PowerPoint files, Keynote files, After Effects, all kinds of stuff. sound effects as well as music. It's fantastic. So I would never pay for that. That's the only in-app purchase, and it does not affect how this thing works at all, which is ludicrous, isn't it? Right, I'm just going to record the built-in Retina. So let's do that. Let's get a tiny clip, and then we'll have to do something so we know that we might be working backwards. I wonder what that might be. What have I actually got that I could do here? Probably very little. Oh, what have I got in terms of browsers? Absolutely no idea. I hardly ever use this machine. It's shocking. Right, let's do.
You could go into a spreadsheet, type a very long number, and then watch it type.
You want me to go into Excel?
Watch it type backwards.
Oh, do you know what'll happen with this? I guarantee it. Oh, you need to activate this. Here we go, verifying it. Oh, you've never used
Carol
Excel
wants
on
to
here.
know what's the best video app on a Mac.
To play a video, or record a video, or edit a video. To do what with a video? If it's screen recording and I could only have one, I would have Camtasia. There are 3 features in it that if you edit a lot of video, you will adore. It will make the difference between getting the video out the door and not. I'm sorry I picked Excel after all this. What we can do is show how we can speed a video up. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I need to slow a video down. I've got a funny story about that.
Oh, you can slow a video down and you can speed it up. Right, there we go. Can't see a darn thing, but let's crank that up.
Carol says edit a video.
Edit a video. If it's screen recording, I'd use Camtasia. ScreenFlow's kind of just become the standard. But if it's screen recording, then Camtasia beats it. It's very close. It is a very close thing. There is a... Can you just go into Slack? There's Tracy mentioned a link that Jonathan had. And it gives you Camtasia cheaper. Having said that, I've just spent £99 on that. Right, you want me to type a very long number in?
Yeah, I was just thinking
okay, and then we can do it backwards.
Then you could play it backwards.
Oh, how cool is this? Oh, easiest demo ever. Right, so there's that recorded. Let's pop that in, and then it does weird things with it. So we'll leave Excel alone at that point and minimise it. Then we need to go and turn off the recorder, which is in here at that end. So stop the record. And we have a recording. And somewhere here, we should have the fact that we're typing. So if I get there, click on that. I'm going to use the W key, which removes everything because that's where I want my starting point to be. So W cuts at the beginning and E cuts at the end. And Command and Z, no, Shift and Z, stretches it out over the timeline so you can edit. All right, so we've got it moving that way. Right, it was either something you had to put on the video in filters and effects, or it was somewhere else. But I don't use this, so I'm claiming, you know, it's not that one. Right, in that case, it must be one of these. Are you video? You're screen recording, are you? Fabulous. Right, and do you have here a way to go the other way? Or do we have to add an action? That's lovely. Lovely, lovely. Yes, I've clicked OK 3 times now. 4th time lucky. Awesome. Right, so this down here, you should then be able to do something with it. But I've no idea what. So yes, you can, is the short answer. Longer answer, I wish I knew how. I can't remember. That is an action. So can you do it here? Oh, why don't you look it up for me, Mike? And then I'll demo it.
About to do that.
I know you can do it because they added it, but they added it after I left. Camtasia, you can do it, but obviously the way you do it in one app is not the way you do it in another, but I know it can be done.
ScreenFlow reverse clip.
I know you can. I've never needed it. Oh, I did it once. I did an aeroplane taking off, only it didn't. It went the other way. It wasn't pretty, but I did it. Right, where's the reverse clip option? Is it in this screen recording actiony thing here? Or is it something else? Let me keep going on here, see if I can find it. So annoying because I know you can do it. I would think it was on the video. Oh, like video motion. That'd make sense, wouldn't it? Let's add a motion action on. Not to preview. Here we go. Only one that time. Right, position rotation. Oh, there's loads of things you can do, but none of them particularly that. Shall we add an effect? If we add an effect. No, it's not an effect. It's not an effect. So no, we can't do that. It's there. Any news?
No, not yet.
Right, I'll tell you what. You're not going to believe it, but that's that thing I was watching the other day.
This?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, I'll leave that there. We'll return to that. But yes, you can is the short answer. We just need to work out precisely how. But I wanted to show you this option that you've got at the top.
Clip Inspector.
Clip Inspector. Okay.
You can find these properties by clicking the gear icon on the clips.
Oh, well, that's not logical, is it? Oh, hang on, because I've zoomed in.
Clip Inspector allows you to adjust the speed of the clip by increasing or decreasing, and you have the option of playing in reverse.
Keep going, keep going. There we go. Reverse. Awesome. So, it's done it. So, technically speaking, now, if I play it, it's playing in reverse. That's me stopping the recording. And then Excel comes back. There you go. Thing I have problems with ScreenFlow is everything's in a different place. So if you know where it is, awesome. But Camtasia tends to be more organised in terms of stuff like this that you might want to work backwards, etc. But there you go. Yes, you can. You just need to click on the cog.
I created a video at work, and I obviously had audio with it. And then they wanted a Japanese version. And obviously I don't speak Japanese. So I got my Japanese colleague to record the audio by watching the subtitles that are generated by our translation tool. And he said, because the Japanese words are different, it's not like one for one, it was about 15 seconds longer. So I'm going to have to slow it down.
Okay, that is also something that you can do in here. It's probably easier if I do it on this desktop one, isn't it? So if I go in here and say, let's just do a new recording, this will probably send it absolutely mental. No, you don't want to record that screen. Let's record this screen, which is this one here. I have no idea what we're going to do on this, but this was speeding it up, wasn't it? You wanted to speed it up. So what could we do on here? Where we could speed it up? I've got to be so careful. I can't just play a video or something like that. So I actually need to like pull something out. Oh, it's actually working. Good God, it's a miracle. No, don't do that. That gets me giddy, that. Right, let's have a look. No, I don't go to YouTube. I don't go to the BBC News either. Would the sport be quite safe, do you think?
Yeah, there's a game on.
There's a game on, that'll be fine.
There's a game on.
Oh, Italy winning. There we go. Right, so I've got this and I'm scrolling up and down. And I'm probably going too fast, right, to actually read it later. So I've done that and I've got a recording. Right, so let's get that out of the way and stop the recording. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? All right, let's stop the recording. Do you want to create a new document or add it to Untitled? Well, I might as well add it to Untitled. I haven't done anything else with it, have I? And then drag it down there. So I've got my recording where everything's far too fast. Right, now I'm going to need to remind me how on earth I did this. This is so easy in Camtasia. Can I show you in Camtasia and be done? There is a way to speed up and slow down. Right, let's go into here and see what's in there for a start. Right, you can reverse it. It would make sense to me that you could change the speed with that. And this is the problem with ScreenFlow. If you could reverse it, wouldn't this be the place? But no, it's not. So I've got a sneaking suspicion where I had to add something to it. So just check it out, mate. I can't remember what on earth I needed to do on here. But in the video motion, it's something to do with changing the speed of something in here.
Go to Show Clip Inspector.
Show Clip Inspector again. Right, there you go. That was it. You're quite right, that was it. Right, let me
I've just read it.
8 years since I've used this. 3 years since I've used this. Oh, don't disappear. That won't do. Right, so I'm here. So I go to the clip inspector to open that up. So this hovers over the top of it. This is why this isn't as good as Camtasia. You can change the speed in here. So you can speed it up by making the clip smaller so it'll run faster. Or you can slow it down. So right down to the bit where I was scrolling like crazy, which wasn't there. That wasn't like me trying to come out of it. Or have I still got this going backwards? There. So I was scrolling really quickly. But because I've slowed it down, it's only going at 10% or 12% of the speed that it was going. So you could slow it down if you wanted to. You could also speed it up. So did you need to gain 15 seconds or lose them?
I needed to gain 15 seconds.
Right,
but it wasn't just a case of changing the speed, because then the voice had to match up.
Well, you can separate the audio from the visual and get the audio right first and then do the visual. But what I was going to say was, what we're doing here is, I quickly scrolled up and quickly scrolled down really way too fast. And I can slow it down by 90% and it looks normal. But if this was a tutorial that needed to be retimed because it was a different language, it wouldn't be as simple as that, because you can't just move the mouse across the screen in slow motion. People will be thinking that you're taking a while with that. So there are other ways to do it by extending it and things like that, but this is the quickest way. I think people use this more. I certainly use this more to speed things up. So if I've done something where it needs to process, it needs to print out or something, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this tutorial and I'm thinking, I haven't got 8 seconds to wait, so I'm going to have to speed it up. That's why the audio, as far as I'm concerned, the audio and visuals are recorded in different apps entirely. I do put audio in here. I don't think I did with this one, but normally I would put audio in here, and I do it in 2 different ways. Can I show you that? I think I can. Let's come out of that. No, we don't need to save it. What I would do if I was setting up to record, I'd be using Camtasia 2021. Now, you're probably thinking, how's she doing this at the moment? Because you're actually already recording. Indeed, I am. The red one is Camtasia 2020. Just in case I need to demonstrate or do anything with Camtasia 2021. So this is 2021 that I'm actually looking at. And how I do it is I will record the screen. I don't ever bother with the camera. And then when I do the audio over here, what I do is use the iMac microphone, which is a lot better than it used to be, but certainly you wouldn't actually choose to use it. And I would probably record the system audio as well. But this using the iMac microphone is because, in addition to that will give me, it's the lowest latency. As long as the iMac is functioning correctly, and if it's not, if it crashes, then you're going to lose the recording anyway. Actually, Camtasia will keep hold of it, and then it will say there's an unsaved recording. But if I use the iMac microphone, it's the most likely audio source to be precise. When I talk, it's going to be absolutely in sync with the video. But then what I do, I have audio hijack, and can't really do much with that at the moment. That's an issue. I have audio hijack, and audio hijack is recording the audio completely separately from the video. When you come to actually edit that, I edit the audio first, so it sounds right, and then sort out the video to match. And that does mean speeding things up or slowing things down. In here, if we take that away and we do a bit of a recording, and we do the same thing again, right, that's now recording in there. So we've got this, so we'll do the speed it up, scroll up and down thing. I think if I scroll up and down enough, Belgium will equalise. There we go. So we've just got some recording. Then I need to stop it, which is going to be interesting because there's now going to be 2, but we think we know it's that one. And that comes up in here. Now, first off, it's going to ask me to save it because I have it doing that. If I didn't, bad things would happen. So we'll save it into there. So I've got it saved. And at that point, it's ready to make another recording, but I'm not ready for it to make another recording. So what I would then do with it is actually, if I go and find the thing, so if I find this file, which was in Documents Local, which I think was that one. No, it wasn't. It was that one. Right, and I open that. Oh no, that's definitely not what I want, but it'll do. It'll do. Right, there's the movement on it. And what you do in here, where I say everything is together in Camtasia, in here you have behaviours and annotations and all the rest of it all together. Some is animation there, so do you want it to scale up, scale down, focus? And the thing is, all of these are completely separate, but they all work the same way. Whereas in ScreenFlow, it's like, where's that option gone? And the interface for every one is totally different. So I am frantically in here. I need to go to more, I think. Is it visual effects? It's something in here. Let me go find it. Clip speed. So what you do with that one is you drag it on and it says the effect was added. And you have this blue bar that is the entire thing. But the beauty of this is, unlike ScreenFlow, where it's like that's the whole clip, it doesn't need to be the whole clip in here. So if I just want one bit changing, why are you doing that? Don't disappear on me. Let me grab hold of it. Right, you're moving the whole clip and I don't want you to move the whole clip. Oh, crying out loud, why is it doing that? That is strange, because what I've done with this is I've put an effect on it and I've had it only applying to a certain bit, which at this point it's not actually doing. But I've speeded it up at that point. It doesn't matter whether you're speeding it up or slowing it down, everything happens in here. So if we play that through, that should be way faster. It's just two different ways of doing exactly the same thing, but they are so different. Once you get into the zone of working with one of these apps, to actually switch and do a full edit in the other one is actually a nightmare. I have two cheat sheets that I've written that are the key shortcuts that I need. So in here, for example, when I'm working, I need to quickly go from one place to another. So if that's a video that I'm working with, I quickly need to go to the beginning of it. So I have a shortcut key. The end of it, I have a shortcut key. And all the things in between have a shortcut key. But if I don't work in here for a month, if I switch to ScreenFlow, there's no way I'd ever remember the shortcut keys. So they are written down. I have a checklist for that. But there you go. So I just wanted to show you the options that you had. But I've just realised, and luckily it's still there so I can show you. No, I don't. I want you to stay behaving exactly as you are. That's jolly good. I just don't want you to do that. Right, let me get back to the other machine because I've just noticed. So back to Biggles. Who can spot what's happened? Because that's not good. What's happened with the menu bar thing here where I added the group and ungroup? They've disappeared. So despite the fact that I did save that file and then I went on to another file, they're not there. So maybe that needs to be dealt with as well. With ScreenFlow, never trust it for 2 months. As soon as there's a new one, give it 2 months to bed in. By the time they've sorted the problems out, you'll be fine. You can see tonight that I'm recording here, but I'm recording with a version of Camtasia that's 18 months old. Because that's tried and trusted. And the new one, not yet. I'll leave that for a little bit. Right, okay. We need to get back in.
Question from Carol.
Okay, what's the question?
Can you gradually increase or decrease the speed?
Yes, you can. It's called easing. Look for the easing option. You can ease in and ease out of what you're doing. So yes, you can. It does look better if you do that, to be honest. Okay, you need not to be looking at Biggles. You need to be looking at the iMac. There we go. So, as some of you will be aware, I've been doing Ship 30 for 30. You're wondering, aren't you? What on earth is Ship 30 for 30? Well, I did a course in May to the beginning of June, which was called Building a Second Brain. And many people on Building a Second Brain were writers. And that's because there are two courses. There's Building a Second Brain and there's another course called Rite of Passage, RITE. And that's specifically for people who want to hone their writing skills. But it's heckishly expensive. And when I say expensive, I think the cheapest one is $6,000. So Ship 30 for 30 came along, which is you're writing for 30 days, but you've got to publish as well. You can't just say, yes, I wrote it, but, it's in my notebook at home. You've got to share it, which is this scary business. So at first I thought, no, that's not for me. I've done the blogging 30 thing. It nearly killed me. But as time went on, there was this particular day and it was like, oh, there's a voucher on for today and then the price doubles tomorrow. And I thought, oh, go on, I'll do it. So that was how I decided to do it. I will just give it a go. The plan is that you write an atomic essay every day for 30 days. So let's head off. Why is that not moving? Mousy toy again. This mouse will be the death of me. It will. Right. Let's head off and have a look. So I did have a page, didn't I? I had this page. I will bring this on and we will venture away from the sport. And we'll go to ship 30 for 30. And I think it's .com, but we best just do it. There we go. Right, so this is their homepage. One thing that's definitely worth having if you're interested in writing at all is this 10-day writing course. So I did that first, and then there's this long form sales page which is telling you what it's all about. So as I've just said, it's shipping something that you've written every day for 30 days. It's not 30 pieces of material you've done in one day. It's one per day. So this is the onboarding. They are not the people who are running it. Let me find the people who are running it. What they do, which is different to everything else, is they put real strict constraints on it. And I thought, that's fine. I wasn't bothered one way or the other about the constraints. But the constraints were that you can only write 250 words. And it needs to be put on Twitter. And then there's all the other stuff as well. But the main thing was 250 words. And I thought, yeah, that's still going to be a struggle though, isn't it? I ended up with 700 words and I hadn't actually finished. And it was like, well, that'll have to go and that'll have to go. And it really does teach you to be brutal. Just make sure that you get absolutely what you need to get your point across. You get a buddy, you are buddied up with somebody, and there's an entire community to join as well. So this 10-day thing, I would highly recommend the 10-day thing. It does give you some great tips. So there are live sessions involved. I didn't think of it as a course, I'll be honest. When I started looking at this, I thought, no, this is like something different. It's not a course. But actually, I guess it is a course. But the way that they do it, there are live sessions. There are live sessions twice a week. And there's also some extra sessions from people who have been through this process before. And they take you through things like this, the bad habits. Are you editing while you're writing? Oh, I do that all the time. Are you overthinking it? Can you think of enough ideas? So you've got all of this information about it. This is what an essay looks like when you've published it. So I've actually published some. That just happens to be white text on black. But there's an app, a tool that they've got that they give you access to. So you can have them looking however you want. Right? But in essence, it is cohort-based, as it says. So you do have people going through it with you. Many of them are following each other on Twitter and giving guidance, help, opinions, whatever. That's everything you need to know there, to be honest. It's an online writing course. It's cohort-based. It's for 30 days. There are live sessions and there are also video sessions, which I will show you. There is a community. You can be as involved in that community as you like. The idea is that you do make lifelong friendships. And as you go through, there are sessions from previous sessions that you can watch. So there's videos available from other cohorts, which they're now calling waves, that you can watch, all to help you with your writing. So these are the guys behind it, Dickie, and I know it's Nicholas Cole, but he likes to be called Cole. So Dickie and Cole. They are there on the live sessions. They are also writers, and they've put this process together over the course of 10 years. This one that I'm in is the June cohort, or the June wave. The next one is going to be August. So they give you the dates. It's going to be the 9th to the 12th of September. They're already putting the times up for the sessions. So the Saturday one's at 11 Eastern or 4 p.m. our time in the UK. And there's some other ones. So some are also, the Wednesdays alternate. So if it's at 12 p.m. Eastern, it's 5 p.m. my time, so I'm quite happy with that. But it alternates, so sometimes it's 8 p.m. and sometimes there's extra ones on as well. They are talking at the moment that people prefer Friday to Saturday, so they may be moved to Saturday. So once you actually get into it, you've got this 4-week process. The first week says onboarding week, and I'll be honest with you, I thought, oh yeah, that'll just be ticking a few boxes. No, it's not. Oh my God, by Wednesday I was behind. Seriously. Onboarding week. Don't think of onboarding week, if you do attempt this, as like nothing, because it's not. The only difference between onboarding week and the rest of it is you're not actually writing. But good grief, there's a lot to consume. So we're in week 1 at the moment, how the game of online writing works. So we've just done session 3. As you move through it, you then expand what you can do with the stuff that you've written. So initially it's on Twitter and it's a graphic, which feels really weird. Because as a graphic, what on earth can you do with it? It's not going to be searchable. So it's not like writing a Twitter thread and everything is searchable. It's just a graphic. So we're working on that on week 2 and 3, I believe. So tactical writing advice. So this is things like how to write a good headline, how to write a good hook, that kind of stuff. Week 3 is how to take what you've written and repurpose the content. I can't wait for that, because what I've done, I've managed to get like extra information that I just can't fit in 250 words, but it's valuable. So I've put it on one side and thinking by week 3, I'll find something to do with it. And then week 4, you look back at what you've done the previous 3 weeks. Using the Twitter analytics, I didn't know they were a thing either. I'll be honest, only ever used Tweetbot, and only then to read. But you use your analytics to work out which of the topics that you talked about resonated most with your followers. And then beyond Ship 30 for 30, you can then join the alumni program and you can go on a cruise whenever you feel like. It's just included in this like ongoing thing. In terms of accountability, that's probably the number one thing. I would say the second thing for me has been this Twitter business. Because the first day, what was I like? Like, I don't know where to put this. Does he mean there? What about that? I was all over the place. So that's the onboarding, if you want to go and see it. Michael put the link in for that. In fact, I can put the link in for that.
I've got the link.
We can see it on the screen. Come on. Right, let's get that in there. Oh, I can see the chat now. Oh, Patricia says she's loving 30 for 30 on my Twitter handle. Excellent. You'll see it live today then, and Renee is enjoying it. Good. Italy won. That wasn't a total surprise, was it? Oh, everything went today as planned. Just not for me. Right. So that's what we've got on the landing page. When you get into it, you'll see it is actually a proper course. So now I need to go and find the course page. No, where did I put the course page? I would love to know that. Right, let's take that over there and see if I can find the course page. I've got a sneaking suspicion I did actually stick it in projects where it's supposed to be, and that looks likely. I'll bring that on if that's right. Awesome. There we go. So it looks like a standard course. I'm sure we've all seen courses like this. You have down the left-hand side, where your stuff for the introduction initially, and then onboarding week. And onboarding week was separated. So normally this would be probably called a module. And then within that you would have lessons. And that's what you've got here, what each of these are. But onboarding week, it was, you had a day per day. So day 1, day 2 and so forth. As you can see, I've actually managed to stagger my way through almost to last Thursday. Oh dear, that's no, I'm fine. I just need to go back and finish these things off. So what these things kind of look like is, how you would ask for feedback. So it actually gives you here information of what to do, what to say, and how to actually get that. And that is a lesson. That's a full lesson within the day 4 onboarding. Onboarding was 5 days, as you can see, and then we went into the proper week, which is where I am now and where I need to be working. I'm doing the writing. I can't do everything. I'm a busy woman. But that's the idea. In here, you'll see that week 2 has just unlocked. So it unlocks on a Saturday, but they do it early, so it's unlocked if you are in Australia. So when they say, week 2, it's actually 24 hours before if you are on this side of the planet.
Does the 10-day course require a Twitter account?
No, it doesn't. No, you don't have to write anything in terms of that. All it is them giving you really quite valuable information about writing, how to pick headlines, how much to write, why to put constraints on yourself and stuff like that. So no, you don't need a Twitter account for that. Oh, Debbie said she wouldn't want to sign up for a Twitter account. The only reason that you're signing up for a Twitter account, really, is just to push these things out. Now, I already had a Twitter account, so I'm just using that. You could do it if you didn't want to do that. That would be completely up to you. I will show you how you could do that. But just pointing out that these things are drip fed to you. So this bit, the weekend reflection for week 2, doesn't unlock for 6 days. And then week 3 unlocks in 7 days. And so forth. So 13 days, 14 days. And finally, you can see I've actually read the FAQ. Look at me there. Good me. And then it goes down to these resources, which are the office hours vault. So these are videos that you can watch. That's the actual thing. But to be honest, once you get going, once you've gone through the onboarding week, you are pointed towards a tool. And the tool is called TypeShare. So if we go up there and we go to TypeShare. Now I'm logged in. So this is what you get. So this is me in create mode. And if you've been following along, these are the 6 pieces that I've written. And they want you to do it in here this way. So you build yourself a gallery in here. So there is also a gallery in here somewhere. Let me open that in another window. And there we go. That's what the gallery looks like. So we could actually take that and you could actually go see that yourself for real. Right, so what you've got in there is, initially, that's blank. Once you've written your first piece, which is that one there, it will appear. And then every subsequent piece comes in, so that was day 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I haven't done much with the bio, have I? Yeah, I should do that, shouldn't I? But in here, you can actually click on these and you can scroll and read them. They don't look identical to how they look on Twitter because I had a sidebar on mine with a hashtag on it. But it's not bad. It's almost the same. And what they are teaching you with this is a grabbing attention headline. One person today made the point. They've only just realised 6 days in they've not been putting their name on their essay. So you do learn as you go. One thing I wanted to do was like highlight points in it. So basically progressive summarisation. What's holding you back, and then list 3 things that could be holding you back. Point out the solution, etc. So that was why certain things are highlighted, etc. So that's the public-facing gallery. But my creation side looks like this. And the idea with this is that you progress and see how you go. There's some videos for instruction for how to actually use it. But I thought it'd be far better to just actually show you how to go about it. So I need to create today's and get it published in under an hour and a bit. So I would come in and I would create. There are some templates in here. And to get into here, you need to do one of 2 things. So if you don't have a Twitter account, there's only 2 ways to get into TypeShare. One is by linking it to your Twitter account, and the other is by linking it to your Google account. And I'm not a fan of linking accounts. So I took the decision, because Google, I pay for space. They have my credit card details, so I'm not sharing that. So I did actually log into this with Twitter. But if you don't particularly want a Twitter account, then there's nothing to stop you creating one that's got no connection with you. You could use another email address, you could use any kind of random name you want, and you could do it that way. Once I got in, so I linked it with my Twitter account, and I got in, and I can cancel that from the Twitter end if I need to. But I then found there were some templates in here. So there's the blank one that I started with, but there's also like mistakes and lessons. So, you know, 4 mistakes I made and 5 lessons I learnt from it. How-to guides, and then these ones, category point of view, the how-to guide, mistakes and lessons, and myths. So I thought, well, none of those particularly fit what I'm going to write. I could do a how-to guide, but I thought I'd keep mine orange, as in the MacBites orange. So I actually started with blank, and it really was blank, and it was blue, and it had a hideous font. But as soon as I decided what I wanted the first one to look like, it remembers that. So as I go into it, it's got everything I need ready to just type into it. So I decided to put the sidebar on, which pulled through my Twitter avatar. I put the ship 30 for 30 up the side. I told it in the footer to have 2 pieces of information, which is this bit here. So I've turned the title on, turned the author on, and in the footer I want 2 blocks, and I put my Twitter handle and my blog in there. And I picked, it actually looks yellow. And I only clicked it because I did try this one. That was not good. I only tried that one thinking, well, that's the next nearest. But when I clicked it, I thought, actually, that's more orangey than yellow. So I stuck with that one. I changed the font. So over here, I picked a modern font. The default was sans. No, serif. So I definitely didn't want that. These ones that have got a lock on them, this is the free account that I'm using. I'd love to see how I've got 6 words because I've not typed anything yet, but never mind. This is the free account. There is a paid for option. It's not cheap. It's either $10 a month or $30 a month, reduced to $20 at the moment. And I thought, no way. No way, that's not happening. And I also know that other people are doing this by making this template that you get in here somewhere else. So you could do it in Affinity Designer. Some people are doing it in Notion. You could do it any way you want. I decided it was going to take enough bandwidth for me to write the stuff without fiddling around and trying to get it to look perfect. I thought, all you need to do is just write. That's it. Just do it. Don't overthink it. So I didn't. So I actually have today's piece written. Why aren't you opening? There we go. Now you are. Right. This is what I wrote earlier today. All right. So this is about going live. Learn the secrets for amazing live success. So a lot of people balk at live and try live like Notion, and it didn't end well. No, it didn't, did it? So these are the things that you need to know. So basically it was 3 things. It's using checklists, using templates, and crowdsourcing support. That's you guys. Then I split it up. So my checklists, I have 3. And I actually do have these checklists. So the first one is this. In fact, I can probably show you, can't I? Where's Vivaldi gone? There's Vivaldi, but that's not actually what I'm looking for. So let me do that. And let me do the Notion thing. And I'm probably going to be on totally the wrong page. No, actually I'm not. There we go. So this is what happens at showtime. All of that needs to be set up. I also have the pre-show checklist, which is doing posters and stuff like that. All of these are actually done. I actually just haven't take them. Oh, what am I like? And then there's my wrap-up, which is Mike does 3 things. He gets the timings out the recording. We update the show page. We add the chat to the Notion system. And then I add the YouTube video to the playlist. I make the next show public. And I add the timings that Mike's extracted to the video. So these are the 3 checklists that I'm talking about: pre-show, showtime, and wrap-up. This just shows me them all, and that shows me them in a table, which isn't pretty. So it's these 3 top ones that are the checklists that we're talking about. Oh no, we were on craft, weren't we? That's where we were. So I talked about those checklists and why they're there. Then I talked about the templates, and because I only had 250 words, I've got to be so succinct, which is there's a template for everything. Email announcements, reminder mails, the presentation, even the show configuration used in the broadcast. Normally what I would do is say templates, and then I'd list off what they are and explain how I use them, but 250 words, yeah, no chance. And then there was the last bit, which is while I'm trying to make all the magic happen at 1 minute to 9, The chat is open and you guys can chat and entertain each other. So that's what I'm going to be publishing. That's it. So I need to get that from there into here. Now you might be wondering, well, why didn't you write it in here? This is a problem that I've come across with this, and it would be the same problem no matter what. It needs proofreading, and I would probably hand that to Mike for proofreading. We've tried everything. Nothing particularly works. It's like, well, I'll email it. Yeah, I can't edit it. Well, I'll put it in Scrivener, not multiplayer. I'll put it in Ulysses. Yeah, not good. So Craft seemed to work. So that's been proofread. If there's any mistakes, it's all Mike's fault. So I put in the title, and why have I got a line in there? Oh, no, that's fine. Right, so I'm copying the rest, and I'm just going to paste it into here. But trust me when I say that isn't all I need to do. Look at the state of it. The bird is red. If you were with us on Marooned, you'll know what that means. That's this bird down here. If the bird's red, the bird is telling you, not that you've got too many words, because it's only 244. But when I looked in Craft, how many words did it say? 248 in Craft. So 4 words are missing. It's just the way they calculate. But it's all the spacing and the headings and all kinds of stuff. No, the whole thing needs sorting out. So I need to delete all of these lines. And what this will be doing is the bird will be recalculating as we go. So as all of these lines are deleted, we are trying to get to a point, and you can see the word count going down as we go. This isn't good. This is not good. I'm going to run out of words at the moment. The bird has now gone green. Now, the bird being green depends in here on the room this is going to take up on an image. You have a limited size for the image. Now I'm 18 words short. Crying out loud. Even 20 words short, maybe. No, 19 words short. I'll worry about that in a minute. I might have had one other thing I can put in. Or put a question at the bottom. But I've got these hashtags in as well, and they've come from Craft, and what they're telling me is that's a heading 1. So I delete that. That's going to give me another word less, isn't it? I put that in as a heading 1, and then that one there goes as a heading 2. This word count's dropping by the second, Mike. I'm going to need to find another paragraph. That's a second one. That's a second one. That was a first, and the next one's a first. Right, so I'm going to format it like that. One thing I did, and I think it really depends on the look of it, you know, what does that look like? And are you going to want to highlight much else? So that bit there is probably worth highlighting. That is really a key point. But if I do that, then the rest of it doesn't look right. So one thing that I have done is taking the headings and just clicking this button, which colours them with the colour that you've selected on the right hand side. So all of the headings are then in that colour, which means I can then highlight the rest of it. So I can get that back in terms of the black and people's eyes on it by highlighting certain things. So the pre-show checklist is a 13-point plan. Just grab that and make that black. And you're not done when the show is finished either. So let's highlight that. And then there's a template for everything. Oh, there is. There is. Can't remember if you've seen the PowerPoint one of that, but there is. Right, and that as well. That line is sort of it as well. Do you know what's happened over the week? I'm tending to start each paragraph with the most important point and then filling it out, and that happened automatically. But now I'm 25 words short. But I think I have a tweet somewhere that's going to go with it. So I might have to have a look at the tweet and see what I can use from that. So I've got here are the behind the scenes secrets of success I use for going live. Right. Right, I do have some extra words that I can use from the tweet. Going live on YouTube every week where I, and then produce and present a 3-hour live show. How many words have we got now? Tell me there's more. Awesome. Right. I could put a question on that. What question would you like me to put on that? I know. What are your Best tips for going live. Let's see if anybody answers that. I have no idea. But I will do that. And we're now at 247, so I can go. That 3 words, we're not going to split hairs over that, are we? Now, for the bird to be green, and this is really quite disorienting for me at the moment. My screen is so tiny, I can't judge the size of that image. But we do have some sizing options. That's what these are at the bottom. Font sizing here. So with that one, I've got it at 2. I can take that down up to 6. It makes it much bigger and easier to read. But the bird starts complaining. And that's because to produce that, the graphic would be bigger than the accepted size. What does that mean? Well, if I download that, it's going to download the image. So that has now been downloaded to my downloads folder. Open the downloads folder and we sort that by that. There is the image. So let me open that so you can see it. It's too long for Twitter. Twitter is not going to like an image that is that long. What Twitter will do with it is just kind of show you the middle. It will literally just grab a wall of text out of the middle and show you that. And that's what you don't want. What you really want Twitter to show is the bit at the top. So that's why you need to stick to the right size. At the moment in there, if you go into Tools and Adjust Size, it will tell you the size that it is. And it's the height that's the issue. It needs to be 1,600 or less. So we're not far off. We might be able to get the bird to be green with a much bigger font than usual. But not 5. Not 4. I think we're going to have to go for 3 or 2, aren't we? Darn it. There we go. So what this is doing is shrinking it down. Now, that is one thing I don't particularly like. But I'm going with it. I'm keeping the faith. Because at the moment, you know, this would make far more sense on my blog with more detail. It feels to me when I'm writing this, it's like, okay, this is the edited highlights. But is there really enough there for somebody who wants to do it to follow along with what you're actually doing? I mean, I managed to say there's 13-point plan, but what's in it? Well, I haven't got room for that. And the Showtime checklist, I've explained why it's important, but again, and yes, I did actually forget to press record, as we all know. Only happened once, never heard the end of it, never done it since. But, you know, it's not enough information as far as I'm concerned. But there again, I'm not writing a book. I need to remember I am not writing a book. And I'm not making a course, and I'm not trying to make an all-encompassing YouTube video. That's why I need this course, because I need to shrink stuff down. So I'm just doing what it tells me to do. Right, at that point, with that checked, has nobody seen any spelling mistakes, have they? Don't think so. Right, then it can go live. So this is already hooked up to Twitter. So when I logged in to TypeShare, I logged in to Twitter automatically. So I'm going to hit publish. Oh, the time to hit publish. Right, now I did have a tweet, which is today's show day. So I'm going to put this tweet in here. So it's today's show day. Read on for behind the scenes secrets of how I produce and present a 3-hour live show. Actually, I'm going to put in there every week. Right, okay. I shall now backfill that to where it came from. Put that down there. Right, so I've got a copy of that. What I will say with this is, if you are about to hit publish tweet, make sure that you've got a copy of that tweet. Because if you go away from this particular window, it disappears. As I discovered when it wouldn't tweet what I wanted it to tweet. So I hit publish tweet and it didn't tweet.
Bad words were said.
Oh, now Renee, don't tell me now that there's a spelling mistake. I don't believe you. Do I need to check it? Tell me that you're playing with my mind, Renee. That's so unkind. That's so unkind. Right. Or I won't hit publish at all, and then you get me into serious trouble. Right. Okay. So it's ready to go. That's not the end of it when you've published it. There's 2 things. What do you mean too late? I've not pushed anything yet. It's not too late if there's a mistake.
Well, I didn't spot one.
Well, you'll get sacked if there is, won't you? So Mike's life's on the line here, Renee. Right, there's 2 things that you need to think about. To make it easy for people to follow along with these tweets, if they've missed the first one, so, you know, they pick up...
Oh, there is.
Oh, where? Where have
In
you
the first paragraph.
Oh, crying out loud, Mike. Here are the behind-the-scenes secrets of success I use for going live on YouTube every week. Where, oh, there's 2 eyes. I probably did that, though, didn't I? I probably did that, being honest. It probably wasn't Mike. Right, so there's nothing else. All have a look at it while I talk you through what the issues are and tell me if there's anything else. Right, so when you hit publish, you are publishing a tweet to your Twitter timeline. But if somebody sees it and it's, oh, this is day 7, right? They might want to read days 6 and 5 and 4 and so forth. And to go back through your timeline, particularly if you're a heavy Twitter user, it's going to take time, and you want to make it easy for them. There are 2 ways to do that, and some people just don't like Twitter, as we've discovered. One way to do it is to create a Twitter thread. I did not know about a Twitter thread. I know if you reply to somebody, it creates a Twitter thread. Never contemplated replying to myself. Just looks sad. But I did. I followed the instructions and I did exactly what I was told. So I did. But you'll notice, so are we all happy with this now? Mike's reading it yet again now, knowing that his life's on the line. But the first option you get is to reply to the tweet with a link to your gallery. He's got a glass of wine in his hand as well, so anything could happen, couldn't it? No, it wasn't too late, Renee. Well spotted, well caught. Even though that cost me a word. Usually I'm over. Can't believe it with this one that I'm under. Right, so you tweet this, but there's an option to add a reply to it. So if we go back to this, night, Graham. We go back to publish. Where's the mouse pointer? Right, you've got this option to include a reply tweet with a link to the gallery. And what it's talking about is the gallery that I've shown you in TypeShare. So I left that on and thinking, well, that's the second way that people can catch the other posts. They can either follow the thread that you're going to create in Twitter, or they can follow it in the TypeSpace gallery, the TypeShare gallery. So that's what I thought I'd do. This spelling thing's gone to pot, hasn't it, Renee?
Now Stephen says showtime and has showtime.
Ooh, let's have a look at that. Let's go back out of that and have a look at that. Showtime. Oh, you're right. We shall have it as that, which doesn't cost me a word, does it? There we go. I'm just going to leave that there because you guys are amazing. You find stuff I don't even think about. All right, so I was saying, publishing. So I leave the tick in here. It gives the reader 2 options when it comes to viewing the previous things. The first one being they can read it on Twitter. Second being they can go to TypeShare and read it on there. Right, I'm actually going to hit publish now. So are we all happy with this now?
Yeah.
You heard it here. Mike is happy with it. Right, so I'm going to hit publish. It will take seconds. It's tweeting. That's what it did to me the other night. He picked his moment, didn't he? Right, so it's saying it's published. So we can view the tweet. So I'm going to view the tweet. There's the tweet. The next thing you need to do is you need to use this share button and copy the link to the tweet. This is the bit that I thought was insanity, but I did it anyway. Right, copy link to tweet. Right, the reason that you've done that is, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your homepage. So you moved away from the tweet now. That's the tweet that I've just shared. And this happens to be underneath Danny. I know Danny from Ship 30 for 30. As well as all the other stuff. Oh, Kevin, what have you done? Cute kittens. All the other stuff from my Twitter feed. Right. But what I need to do is get to me. So I need to get to the page that's my homepage, where my profile is. Under my pinned tweet, I've never done this before either, is this 30-day tweet. So this is the thread that's going to be pinned for at least the next 30 days. And what I need to do is add the tweet, this one that I've just created, and add that. Oh, Carol's just seen it arrive live on Twitter. Excellent. I'm glad it worked. What I need to do to this is show the entire thread. So So I'm showing the entire thread. The original tweet from last, whenever, some point before we started. Saturday it was. There's day 1, followed by day 2, and so forth. So what I need to do is when I come down to here, that's yesterday's, but today's isn't there. So I need to reply to this one, which is that one there, and I need to put in a tweet that looks like, you know, day 7 of blah, blah, blah. Luckily, I have that as well. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm actually putting this into Craft as we speak, so I can copy it across. So I'm got the tweet, or I would have, there we go, there's the tweet that I've written for this one, which is day 6. So I'm going to paste that in. Now we've got 2 of them. That's not good. So let's get rid of that and rid of that, and we don't need that. So what I've done is I've replied to yesterday with a new tweet, and I've linked to the tweet that I've just tweeted. Can you see why I was thinking this was insanity? And that one should be today's tweet. So I'm making sure that that link is correct. So it finishes in 042, and that is indeed today. Right, where were we now? Oh, come on. No, we've already done that. Where's my page? There's my page. Right. So I've got the tweet that's going to link to this, and then that is what will embed that tweet inside the thread of this one. But this is the bit that completely threw me. Totally threw me. But apparently that's going to work. 042. So I'll tweet that now. Now, it doesn't come up straight away. You've still got yesterday's. You do actually need to refresh the page. So we're still on the tweet thread, going right down to the bottom, and we should have today's. There we go. So that's how the show actually happens. So you were strange to see me on Twitter. Do you know I used to be on Twitter all day, every day. Loved it. But it got toxic, and I just couldn't do it. I know I could unfollow people and mute people and stuff, but it felt like fighting a losing battle, so I just left it be. So yeah, I am on Twitter and I am reading things now. So if you want to tweet something, I might just see it or poke me with a stick. That is the way that you do it's called a Twitter storm, a tweet storm, but it's a thread is what I would say. And that was the bit that totally threw me. It made sense to me to reply to this one, not create this chain where 1 is replying to 0 and 2 to 1 and 3 to 2, but that's apparently how you do it. And it does show up it's in the right order and everything. So that's the way to do it. So tomorrow I'll have another essay that will have been published, and then I'll do the same. I'll go to reply and I'll paste the tweet in that I've got ready for that, ready to go, which will be day 8. No idea what I'm writing about yet, but I'll think of something. And that will then appear underneath. So, Sarah said, when I started listening to you ages ago, you were encouraging me to go on Twitter, but you only use it with us. You haven't looked at it for ages. Well, there's lots happening on there now. Something new every day, so you need to check now. I think if Twitter didn't work like this when I started using Twitter. I'm listening to a book at the moment called Social Warming. And it's talking about how social media has become a nightmare, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a fabulous book. And they made a point that in 2009, and I'd been using Twitter for 2 years by then, there wasn't even a retweet option. You couldn't quote or retweet. Retweets came from the community who wanted to endorse something that somebody else had said and give them credit. So you would put a retweet in. And the guy in the book made a point of like how you had to butcher grammar to fit it into 140 characters. And I remember doing that, don't you? It's like I'm going to have to change that and to an ampersand, and I'm going to put a hyphen there just to squeeze it into it. And then, of course, Twitter adopted the retweet thing. And I've done many, many things since, none of which I particularly enjoy. But I'm getting there. I decided that's what another one of the benefits of this. I'd seen Twitter storms and threads and stuff, and like no idea how that happens. Now, if a Twitter thread is something that you're interested in, there is a couple of options that we're going to look at next week, apparently on the course, where it'll do it for you. where you like put in an almighty essay and then it will split it up for you, which sounds like a rather grand idea. So I'll probably cover that in the future as well. But for the moment, that's where we're at. So that was 30 for 30, the landing page. The next one is August, if you want to join in. It was saying as we went through that, I don't know if you guys noticed, did we have that? I don't think we did. Let's do the ship 30 for 30. There were things coming up in this lower left corner saying people had joined for $400. There's another one. Ben. June cohort. Well, the June cohort is closed by now. So the next cohort is the one they're advertising on here, which is August. We had the dates, didn't we? Where was the dates? There we go. So that'll be the... I'm imagining that'll be the August cohort. There's usually some deals before it starts, which was what happened to me. I was contemplating it and I ended up with a 10% off voucher. So I will let you know if I get news of any vouchers with it. And then what happens, it reaches a point where early shippers are done and then the price goes up and up and up. And I think it ends up at around $600 to $900. So that's what happened last time. It may be different this time, but I will keep you in the loop and let you know. What's the name of the book? I will show you the book. The book is fabulous. The book is Social Warming. Water stove. That'll do, won't it? I mean, we could do the Amazon thing. Let's do the Amazon thing, shall we? Right, you're going to find me the right book. Oh, come on, that's ridiculous. Right, Social Warming. And there it is. So I've got the audio book, but I actually did get the Kindle book as well. So the Kindle book, let me get you the link. There we go. I love listening to it, but it's such a good book. It's Charles Arthur, who's done other books that I've read. Let's have a look at the other books. Is it the page? What was the other book? It wasn't that one. That wasn't the book. I don't think that's the right Charles Arthur. It was about Google. Right, so let's try in there. Charles Arthur. Cyber Wars was the other one. It was all about hackers, and that again was fantastic. So I will send you the link to that as well. Come on. They are both really, really excellent books. He takes like really convoluted stuff and makes it fantastic. Really accessible, enjoyable, entertaining. Really, really good. Right, okay. So, let's go back where we were. Oh, it's over to Mike. It's Mike's turn.
I need to press record first.
You do need to press record. You've got a checklist there.
Yeah.
Oh, loving it.
Right, I'm ready now.
Right, okay, in that case, I'll flick to you. Hang on, where are you? Oh, there he is. There he is. Let's head over to Mike. Right, they can see you and your unicorn.
Part 2 of cube functions. So, last week I introduced you to cube functions in Excel, and basically, if you're working with data that's structured in rows and columns, and who doesn't these days, it's recommended that you store it in the data model rather than storing it in the spreadsheet. So, if I go to Power Pivot and Manage, and this only works in Excel on Windows, by the way, then this is the data model. This data has actually been imported in to the data model from a CSV file. I've closed that down. What the cube functions let you do is they let you access data that's in the data model and generate totals, counts and other summaries and store that information in spreadsheet cells. So if I wanted to know the total revenue, the actual revenue figures that are in the data model, you can't just use an equal sum because you can't directly access the data model with an equal sum. Same thing if you wanted to count how many orders there were. So there are actually some cube functions that can directly access the data model, but most cube functions include as a parameter what's called a measure. which I also mentioned last week. It's a special formula which is written in DAC, the language of the data. So the first that I'm going to show you here is generating a report title. Now, what I want for the report title is I want it to show the first date, a hyphen, and the last date. And I want it to take that from the data in the data model. So I want it to look at the first order date, which is the 1st of January 2021. And I want it to look at the last order date, which is the 15th of May 2021, and I want it to display those two values in the title. So to do that, what I do is I create two measures. These are these special formulas written in DAX. And to create a measure, you go to Power Pivot, Measures, New Measure. You give the measure a name. You could leave it as measure 1, but I wouldn't. I'd give it a meaningful name, because that's as bad as dimx, isn't it? Okay, so what I will then do is give it a name of first date. Doesn't matter whether you type in capitals, lowercase, or a mixture. You can have spaces, although I tend to avoid spaces in my measure name. So that's the name I'm giving it, first date. And the formula itself, I want to display the value of the earliest date from that list. So I'm going to use the format function, and I want to format the earliest date by using the min function, which some of you may know from Excel, to give you the lowest value. So min, and then the name of the column, which is order date. So I can either scroll down the list or start typing it. Okay, so I'm basically saying grab the lowest value, which, because it's a date field, is the earliest date. Grab the earliest date and format it in the format of DD MMMM YYYY, and then close the brackets. And if I do a check formula, it tells me there's no errors, and I'll just click on OK. So that has created my first measure. As I say, a measure is like, it's a formula, but it doesn't display the result in the cell, because I then have to tell it where to use that measure. All I'm doing here is defining the measure. It's like building your own functions, really. And I'll do another similar one. I'll create another measure, which I will call last date. And for this one, I will do a very, very similar formula. So format, but this time I'll use max of order date. So format the highest value in the order date column and format it as DD MMMM YYYY, and then just do a check formula. You don't have to do check formula, but it's probably worth doing just to make sure everything's formatted correctly. So now I've got those two measures and they're sitting in the background, I can then reference those two measures. So I'm going to go to a blank cell, because what I could actually do is I could actually type the formula into A6. In fact, let's do it in A6. The other way I could have done it is I could have done it in another cell, say over here, and then used a text box over here to point to that cell there, but I'll actually type the date directly into that cell. So what I want to use is I want to use the cube value formula. The cube value formula will allow you to grab a value from a measure. So cube value. A cube value has a number of parameters. The first parameter is always the same. It's always the words "this workbook data model" in double quotes. And the great thing is, when you put your double quote in, it actually gives you this as an autocomplete option. So just double click on it, close double quote, and it saves you a lot of time. So that simply is telling Excel that you want to use the data model from this workbook. Then I need to build up the formula. And essentially what I want to show is 1st of January 2021 to 15th of May 2021. So I would say measures dot first date being the name of the measure. So measures dot first date ampersand, then I'll have the word to in there, then ampersand again, and then measures, well, I need a quote before the measures, so measures dot last date, and then close that. So I'm basically building up a string, and the string is saying take the value of the first date measure, which I defined earlier as being the lowest value in the column, the order date column, add the word to it, and then add to that the value of the last date measure, and I defined the last date measure as being the highest or latest date. Once I've done that, I can press enter and I get an NA. Why do I get an NA? That looks alright to me.
Bracket blind.
Bracket blind, probably. Cube value.
Did you put a double I in it? No, I did.
No, I didn't. Oh, hang on, I know what I need to do. I am bracket blind, yes. Because I actually need to do 2 separate cube value functions and concatenate them together. So that will also be cube value. That will be this workbook data model. Then this will be measures dot last date. There we go, that is much better. So 1st of January 2021 to 15th of May 2021. If I center that across the cells and just make it a little bit bigger, there we go, looks like a heading. Now, the next thing I'll do is I will minimize Excel and I'll go to the CSV file and I'll whiz down to the bottom and I will add another row of data. To save a bit of time, I'll just copy the previous row, change the order ID, and change it to the 16th of May and save it. And if I then go back into Excel and I do a refresh all, data refresh all, what that will do is it will reload the data in to the data model from that CSV file, but it will also update the formulas. Takes a little bit of time, and there we go, it's updated it to the 16th. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is the report needs to show total revenue, and it needs to do it per country. So the users could type in the name of the country, but it's much easier to have a drop down. So the drop down will be populated from the country names, which are in the country sold to column in the data model. Now, there's several ways to do this. This week I'm going to show you a way of doing it where the country list doesn't need to be updated. So in other words, we have a fixed set of countries that we sell our products to, but the method I'm going to show you, it will work if that list of countries gets updated, but it's a little bit manual, so I'll save the true automation till next week. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in a kind of placeholder. So and I'm not going to put the drop down arrow in yet, but I'm just going to put UK in there so that we know that what's going to go into B8 is eventually a drop down list, but it will be the list of countries. So I'll just put UK in for the moment. Once I've done that, I'm going to go to B10. In fact, before I go to B10, I need to create another measure. And this measure is going to calculate the total revenue. So I go to Power Pivot, Measures, New Measure. Give the measure a name. Let's call it total revenue. And the formula will be equals sum, open brackets, and the column is actually called revenue. So if we looked in the data model, the column is called revenue. So equals sum revenue. So what that is going to do, when we use that formula in the spreadsheet, is it will give us the total revenue, because it will add up all the revenue figures in the revenue column, which is in the data model. Remember, you can't just use a measure directly in a cell, so you can't put equals total revenue. It doesn't let you do that. So if you want to reference a measure, which in turn is calculating data in the data model, you have to use the cube value function. And I'll put that in here. It's in B10. So equals cube value. The first parameter is always this workbook data model. The second parameter is the name of the measure, and that goes in quotes. So measures dot total revenue. And if I left it like that, that will just add up the total revenue. What I want to do is add up the total revenue only for the orders from the UK, or whichever country name is in B8. So what I do here is I basically add a filter. So the filter is going to be sales YTD, sales year to date, which is the name of the table, dot country sold to, dot open square brackets, open quotes, ampersand B8, close, ampersand again, close quotes, close square brackets. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's like anything in Excel. Do it enough, you probably get used to it. And then we need another closing quote there and a closing bracket. So that is now giving us the total revenue for the UK. If I change that to USA, it changes the total revenue. If I change that to France, it changes the total revenue. So what I now need is I need a drop-down list that will give us the names of the countries, which, as I said, it's going to automatically pick up from this column here in the data model. To do that, I'm going to just go to a blank cell out of the way. In the real world, I would probably do this in another sheet, but I just don't want to be flicking between sheets in the demo, so I'll do it in a cell out of the way. I'm going to use the cube set function. The cube set function on its own doesn't actually appear to do anything. It does. It retrieves a list of all the items in the specified column. So I put equals cube set, specify the connection, which is always the same, and then put sales year to date dot country sold to. And there's one more thing you have to put. It's a bit of a strange one, this. It's the word children, because the data model has a kind of hierarchy. So you have the name of the table, then below that you have the name of the columns, and then below the names of the columns, within the columns, you have the individual values within that column. But children never appears when you press the dot. It's just one of those little anomalies of Excel, and there are plenty of little anomalies of Excel. Now, it displays a blank cell. It displays a blank cell because it can't actually display all of the countries, but the country names are actually stored in that cell. So behind the scenes, invisibly, all the country names are stored in that cell because it's picked them up from that column there. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to M1 and I'm going to use another function which is equals cube set count. And I'm sure you can guess what that does. It counts the number of items in the cube set. Now, we defined the cube set in L1. So all I have to do is make a reference to L1 and it gives me 8. And what that's telling us is in that column, because that column was defined in the cube set, in that column, yes, there are 1001 records, but there are 8 different values. And then the final thing I need to do is I need to actually display the 8 values down a column. Now, before I display the 8 values, I'm going to generate a list of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I could just type them as I've just done there, but another way to do it is to use the sequence function, which we covered quite a few weeks ago when we were looking at dynamic arrays. So if I tell it to generate a sequence of numbers, and the sequence of numbers, I want it to generate 8 rows, although that could change. It could be 9 or 10, depending if we add more countries. And we want it to do it in one column. So that gives me the numbers 1 to 8. If that had a 9 in it, it would give me 1 to 9. Then, to actually generate the names of the countries, I'm going to use equals cube ranked member. Once again, we start with the first parameter, which is the name of the connection. And then the second parameter is the cell that's got the cube set in it. And because I want to copy this down, I need to make that absolute. And the third parameter is a number. So in this case, it's going to be N1. And as I copy that formula down, it gives me the names of the countries. And what it's doing is it's basically saying China is the first item in the cube set. France is the second item, etc., etc., etc. Now, if I go back to the, in fact, no, I won't go back to the data model yet and refreshing it. I'll just leave it like this. But what I want to do now is generate the drop-down list, the drop-down arrow, which I will do with data validation. So on the data menu, go to data validation, and then for allow, I will choose a list, and for the source, I will choose that range there, 01 to 08. So now I have my list generated, and as I choose a value from the list, it is updating the total revenue. So finally, let's say I go and change one of the country names. So what I will do here is change from Japan, and I will change it to Sweden, because I know we haven't got any records for Sweden. So save that. And then back in Excel, I will do a refresh all, data refresh all. That updates the data model. It's also updated that to 9. It's also updated those numbers, but what it hasn't done is copied that formula down. So that is the manual bit I was talking about. So it's added Sweden in, but USA was missing. So now I've got my 9 countries. No, I haven't. I haven't got USA, because what I need to do is edit that data validation so it references up to row 9. So there we go. And 135 for Sweden, because there was only one order. So as I said, that is a little bit of a manual process. I would use that method where I knew the values weren't going to change. And if you're sitting there thinking that was very long-winded, why couldn't we just, store the values in the spreadsheet cell and then grab the unique values and put them in there. You can do, but the whole idea is we're using the data model because it is the way forward. So that is it from me.
You'll have to vamp for a couple of seconds.
Okay, I will vamp for a couple of seconds.
That's because we've got an important update from Kath. Straight in, this is hot off the press, this. She says, guess who delivered our Tesco order tonight? Wendy! And I'm replying, she didn't deliver ours.
No.
I'll explain that Tesco let us down.
They did.
But you don't spell it like that. No, don't send that.
And did she say, do you know Mike and Elaine?
She probably did. You know what she's like. Tesco's let us down.
With a dog called Sweet Pea.
No stock.
So, do we have any questions?
Of virtually. You see, you get my text in here in real time.
Yeah.
No stock.
I don't see any questions. Everyone's chatting
It's all about keyboards.
emojis
Mike.
and keyboards. Yes.
The new computers have got the ability to emoji straight from the keyboard. Is the upshot of it. And I remember looking at the coloured keyboards, and they do actually have a key on it. I do have a function key, but that's because I've got a Matthias keyboard.
Didn't he play for Germany?
Oh, he was the one that missed, wasn't
Matthias.
he? Right. I'm almost ready. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
There we go. Right. All done and dusted.
When can you expect your unicorn unicorn T-shirt? I don't know.
Very soon, I think,
yes.
don't you?
Very soon.
Right. I need to get rid of that. Oh, don't tell me you auto-saved that.
Next week I'm going to take it further and show you
unicorn.
true automation.
It only did.
What?
Automatically save. I don't want things automatically saving when I'm playing with them.
No.
Seriously.
That's why I turn autosave off.
Oh, it's a Mac app. You can't. You know what they're like. Right. Okay. I need to do magic beans, don't I?
You mean...
Where's that gone?
You mean redisplay your screen?
No. Oh! A slide's disappeared.
Oh.
Now I need to know, was that slide ever there? Was it me or was it them? I'm just going to leave it on you for a second. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, leave it.
Don't pull any porn up or anything dodgy.
No, I will leave. I'll leave that to certain other people.
Don't look at me. It was nothing to do with me.
It was nothing to do with you. No.
I need to make another pay. What's gone on? Oh, this is not good news.
I've got 3 pre-orders waiting from D.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
We need to sort the MacBites merch out, don't we?
We do.
Oh, we do. Right, hang on. I had this slide. I know I did. I probably put it somewhere else, didn't I?
Unicorn thongs.
There are no words for that.
No.
Right, so you're there. We're coming out of that and into that. That should work. And when I say should work, I've got an issue. That's the problem. Webcam not working. So if the webcam isn't working, I can't unbox. So I've been frantically working my little socks off to find an alternative so we can unbox. Because if we can't unbox, I can't use the toys, can I? And I'm almost there. I've just got 1% that isn't working. But in the meantime, we're going to look at PDF Expert. Let me know in the chat, what do you guys use for PDFs? PDF Expert has been around for quite a while. When it started, it was very inexpensive. It was fairly basic, I'll grant you, but it was also inexpensive. It's not inexpensive anymore, sadly. We're looking at the Mac version tonight, but there is an iOS version, as I mentioned. So first thing I'm going to do is discuss the pricing of this. Right, PDF Expert can be bought in one of 2 ways. You can either get it direct. Now, that says pdfexpert.com, which it is, but it's also part of Readle, who make a free version, if you want to have a go first, called Documents. It's not all there in terms of functionality, but if you want to give it a basic try. So when I started with this, I think the price was something like $7.99, and I got it reduced in a sale to like $1.99. I don't think I've had to pay for an upgrade since either. But like a lot of other software manufacturers, they do have it in the App Store, but they're not keen on you using it in the App Store. Most things will redirect you to pdfexpert.com and buy it from there. I wouldn't buy it directly from there. I will explain why. But you can also buy it in the App Store. So let's bring the App Store on. Right, once you've bought it, which I have. So I have a copy direct from them and I have a copy from the App Store. But once you've bought it, you can't see the price. And that narks me. That really does nark me. It's as if they're trying to hide something. So, the price from the App Store is $74.99. Which for an App Store app, it's all its money, isn't it? The instant comparison, as far as I was concerned, was ScreenFlow and Camtasia. And I can't help thinking, they, in inverted commas, do more. But it just seems $74.99. I think $49.99 is more than adequate, but that's me. It is a very, very good app. Can it replace Adobe Acrobat? For many purposes and for many people, yes. But there are odd things that are still missing. So Acrobat, of course, has the problem that it's part of the Creative Cloud, which means you'd be paying way more than that. 2 months in and you've already spent more than that. So it is a very, very good alternative. They have been promising for a long, long time that they will be adding extra features. And the features that are there to be added are things like creating forms and things like that. It can fill forms, but there's scope for them to add features. There definitely is. So it's $74.99 from the App Store. Unless you want to install it on multiple apps, I probably wouldn't do that either. Because frequently, and I do mean every 2 to 3 months, if you keep your eye on sites like stacksocial.com, you will find that you'll be able to buy PDF Expert for £25. Unfortunately, that deal finished about 10 days ago. So I would expect within a couple of months, probably the back to school thing, there will be another deal on it. If I spot a deal on that, and if anybody else spots a deal on that, it tends to go in the Slack group. So if you're not in the Slack group, you need to get in there because that's where you get freebies and offers on. So that is macbites.co.uk/Slack. So it's $74.99 from the App Store. For reasons best known to themselves, when I go in to buy it in here, it is $79.99. Now, I can't guarantee at this stage, without doing all the checkout, that that wouldn't skyrocket. The exchange rate would make it cheaper, but then they may add VAT on it. Now, you can see it's 1 license, 3 Macs, but it is activated. So you will only be able to install it on 3. So that's the admin side of it. But if you've already got it, then we're good to go, aren't we? I just think that the price of that has more than tripled. But they haven't brought out a new version. It's ridiculous. So that's where they're at with it. Okay, so let's have a look at it. By comparison to Acrobat, and if you've never seen Acrobat, I did install that just for a giggle. You see already, where's Acrobat? Oh, it's thinking about it. I always call this... Oh, I can start a tour as well. Lovely. No, we won't bother. We won't bother about that. No, it's not, and I don't want you to either. Go away. Go away. I always call the interface of this Fisher-Price. There's an iPad somewhere crying for its app back. This gives you kind of the recent view. So this is more like your backstage view of Office. And then you can go into the tools view. Now tell me that that's not an iPad interface. It's hideous. It's absolutely hideous. It's incredibly powerful if you can find the feature you're looking for. But I just look at that and think, well, I want to create a PDF and then I want to combine some files into it. Then I want to sign it. Then I want to organise the pages, then edit it and then export it. Which one do I click? So that's why we don't use Acrobat, because it's hideous. Totally hideous. The only time I have to resort to Acrobat is when there's something like an advanced search and replace and it can't do it. But other than that, I'm in here. Right. So I've got a report just to show you, but let's go through the interface and what we've got first. It starts with this, meaning that you can open a file by just dragging and dropping it, or you can hit select and it will give you the dialog box and you can open the file from there. You've also got your recents underneath it, and these are the recent files that I've actually used. I'm even going to be using one tonight in anger, a real file, not one that I created. And I've got some sample files as well. Pretty much the interface that I've just shown you from Acrobat, if we move to the top here, let me move across there so we can see what's going on. Right, you've got the ability to edit and read and annotate and merge and stuff. These are your how-tos. So if you click on that, it will give you a file. It's a PDF file, and in it, it will actually tell you what to do with PDF Expert. But, you know, who reads the manual? That's the whole point. But you do have that how-to across the top, which will give you some guidance. Right, I'm going to open this sample file, this monthly report, which is just a pages file that I've created and turned into a PDF. Right, first thing to understand, people say you have 2 modes in PDF Expert. You don't, you have 3. I know it doesn't look like you've got 3. You have annotate at the top and you have edit. So if I click on annotate, you get a range of tools, and these are all the annotation tools. You click on edit, you get a different range of tools. But the third option is don't click on either of them. So there is a normal reading view as well. So I would call that reading mode. So you have annotation, you have edit, but you also have the ability to just read it. So let's have a look what we've got in the interface. So at the top, we have these buttons that control the interface, and they look fairly innocuous. So as we toggle that on and off, all that's doing is toggling on and off this sidebar. But the thing is, this sidebar is hiding a great depth of features in there. So I pretty much leave that turned on. The next option you've got is this page thumbnail view. And this view is really useful when you are organising the pages, or you want to extract a page or rotate a page or do something with it like that. You then need to close that page when you finish that view. You then have this view here, which is the view settings. So it has 2 options for the view settings. You have page layout options and you have split view options. So looking at the page layout, initially we've got it set to a single page. But acknowledging the fact that many computers have widescreens, sometimes it makes more sense to go for the first page, first 2 pages, and then work in pages of 2. So as you scroll down, you get 2 pages. You'll also notice that there is an option to show the first page on its own. Why might you want to do that? Well, if you think back to when we've looked at Publisher, and you say you want to start on a recto page, which means on the right hand side, the front cover of this report would actually be just the front cover on its own. So you could do that, but when you scroll down, you then get pages 2 and 3, or in this case they're actually numbered 1 and 2, because the front one is a cover, and then you've got the last page on its own because there's only 4 pages. So those are the options that you've got in the page layout. But in addition to the page layout, you also have split view. So I'm moving back to the top of here. So split view. At the moment we just have A. Your 2 options are to have a vertical split or a horizontal split. So if we go into the vertical split, what we've got there is one entire interface on the left hand side. All of that. But you also have another entire interface over here. Obviously, you could open a different file. So this is a genuine file we'll be working on. That's our Parishes newsletter. And you can see what's happening. As I scroll one, it's scrolling the other. But is that a good idea? Well, probably not if they're separate files. But that's because in the middle of this, you can actually choose to sync the scroll and the zoom. So if we turn that sync off, we can now scroll these independently. So we might actually want to turn that off and scroll that independently from this one. But there is the option to link the 2. Now, when that's really important is sometimes you may have So let's close that one down, but we'll go back up to here and do an AB. You may have two versions of this file. So best thing I can do with that is do a fit to page and a fit to page on the other side. And you may be looking for which is the right version of this. And now we've separated it, they're not scrolling together. So we may well want those to scroll together. Why is that not giving me an option for it to scroll together? Come on. Let's go up here. No, that should be right. That should let us scroll together. It's just not doing. Right, well, the rationale for doing that would be, there's two ways that you can look at this. Either you want to see the same thing. Now, probably what's happening is it knows that these are identical. If I'd made a change, it would think you might want to do a comparison, but these two files are the same file. So the second thing you might want to do, let's make sure we got this right. Right, number one, you may want to compare two totally different files, version 1 and version 2, and look at them side by side. The second thing you might want to do is what this is letting me do, because these files are identical. I can move through and look at page 1 in one window, but in the other one I can move through to page 3 and page 4, and I'm looking at multiple copies of the same document. So it's defaulted to that because these are absolutely identical. You can, of course, flip that round so they are viewed that way. That obviously would work better if the view settings in here were to fit the width, and then you could do a comparison like that. So let's do a fit width on both of them, and you can see different places. So all of this is literally just the view. You're not changing anything, you're just looking at one file, two different parts of it. But it's a handy option to have. That was one of the last things that they actually added. And when you click on these things here, you do get options here to switch them over if you want. So if we open up a different one and then go back to there, you can flip them over so they're on different sides. You can even change the document. So you can click there and you can then open up a different document. So it is a very, very powerful feature when it comes to comparisons. You can even decide that you want to see one smaller and one much larger. So for comparing, it's fantastic. I must admit, if I'm checking a PDF, you know, I've created a document, I've got this PDF and I want to check it for mistakes and stuff, I actually do it on an iPad. I just feel that if I change where I am and the device that I'm on, it'd just be easier. But it's very nice options that are available in here. Let's take that back to fit page. Right, other options you've got here are that you can zoom in and you can zoom out. So obviously you've got those options. You can also search through the file as well, and the search is very, very good. But let's get back to the modes and the tools and what all of that actually means. Oh, I should also mention as well, shouldn't I, the PDF Pen saga. PDF Pen, which was previously from Smile Software and a good alternative to PDF Expert, has just been sold to Nitro. Nitro is a company that provide PDF applications for Windows. And when I checked the price of their Windows solution, and in my mind I'm thinking, what are they going to do with the Mac version? It was £185. So PDFs, not cheap. Not cheap when you're working with them. So PDF Expert at the moment probably has the majority of the Mac market. PDF Pen Pro been around a long time, but currently in flux. So might need to think about that. So the tools that we've got. All right, your annotation tools. Obviously, all to do with annotating your document and starting with the ability to highlight part of your document. So I've enabled the tool first, and then you get to go in and change the tool before you actually use it. Now, if I'm highlighting something, the odds are it's going to be yellow. And I find the red, and even these ones, the green's not bad, but the red in particular and purple and all kinds of stuff just seem a little bit over the top, a little bit too dark for me. But once I've selected it, I will show you what that is all about shortly. I can go through and I can then just highlight it. So the tool, once it's selected, stays selected, and I can then just go through and do it word by word, line by line, or can we do the paragraph? Yes, we can do the whole thing if we want. So that's the entire page. So it's just a matter of how many times that you actually click. You also have the ability to underline content. So if we go into here and just grab some words, you are underlining that content. Again, you get to decide in what way. So the underline tool has its properties over here, just like the highlight tool did. So this time I might want to underline in green with a wiggle. Who doesn't want to wiggle? Oh, it's gone back to red. Hang on, I want a green wiggle. There's a green wiggle. Obviously, colour-wise with these, there's a danger, especially if it's a wiggle. If it's a wavy line, there is a danger that it looks like a grammar mistake or a spelling mistake. So do think carefully about what colours you use. Right, so that was the squiggly tool. The underline tool. But it does go back to underline, doesn't it? It actually tells you, it changes the name of the tool at the top. Then you've got the strike through tool. So this is particularly, I remember doing this when I was working in the law. Oh, it was hideous. You had to go through and strike out stuff and then add stuff, and you always had to be able to go back and be able to read it. So you couldn't actually delete it. It needed to be there as like a document history, but it was hideous. But you have the option to do that. You then have the pencil tool, or in this case the pen tool, where you can literally just draw what you want to draw. Obviously not too well with a mouse, but you can. And you can change the lines, the opacity, and all of the colours again. I do believe, let me try this, I'll go back in. I do believe that remains editable. There it is, you can grab it. Can you change the colours of it? Oh, it doesn't like that. So you really do have to set the tools before you start. I'm used to being able to go in and change that, but then I'm using GoodNotes, so it does allow me to change it retrospectively. Right, next option you have got up here is the eraser tool, where you can erase part of what you've already done. So let's erase that silly thing there. There we go. All done. Then you've got the text tool. Now, don't make a mistake as to what this text tool is, because we have more than one of them. This one is in the annotation tools collection. Therefore, when you click and you add some text, it's actually adding text in the form of a note, in this case in a different colour. But you can, of course, grab hold of that and make changes to it. So I tend to use Avenir. And I tend to make it bigger so I can read it. 15, 16, something like that. And of course you can change the colour of it. So let's have that green. But you are adding extra text. You are not editing the text that's in there with this tool. You're adding extra text. The next one is shapes. And the two that I use the most here is the arrow shape. So if I want to point to something like that, and again you can change the width on all of this, and maybe you really want to point to something like that, and the opacity and the colour as well. The other one I use is where I'm trying to draw attention to something and I want to put a box around it like that. What is annoying as far as I'm concerned is every PDF application provides some kind of annotation tools and they're never the same. So this one's got like 4 shapes, but if I picked up something else on the iPad that would have support for 9 shapes. And then I come in here and I can still see them, but I can't make more of that particular shape because I only have the 4 that are available in here. I wish there was some kind of standardization with it. It would make life much easier. You can also put a note on it. So you can click on there and it gives you a big post-it note. Notes about this content, and when you click away, so let's come out of annotation, it shows it folded up, but you can click it to open it. So again, it's all about adding to the base content in here. But that's only the start of the fun, because you also have the ability to use stamps, and these ones are already included. So if this needed a signature with it, we've got the ability there to stamp a "You need to witness this here" stamp. But the stamps are very, very cool. They really are very cool, because these are just the standard stamps and they do look rather nice. But you also have the ability to create custom stamps. You see I've got an image stamp. Yeah, I've clearly demoed this before. I've got my signature. So I could choose that and stamp that. So Mike has approved that now. Yeah, oh, and look at that. It's a chart as well. So he really would, wouldn't he? So you can make your own stamps as well. To do that, it's better to have an image that's a PNG with a transparent background. So as you see, when I've put Mike's signature over this, which I've now done twice, when I actually just wanted to move you. Oh, never mind. Let's have him over there. There we go. It's transparent in the background, which if it was a JPEG, it wouldn't be. So always use PNG for that. And the other option that we have on here is actual signatures. Now, signatures are slightly different from stamps. You can use a stamp as a signature if you want, but the reason that it's useful to have the signatures is if you have the iOS version, you can actually write it with the pencil in iOS and then just stamp that where you would like it. Mine would be much straighter if I'd done that, wouldn't it?
Can stamps be vectors, says Dee?
Let's have a look. I don't think they can. Let's have a look. This is the first way that you've got to create an extra stamp, which is it will use the tools and you get to choose the colours and stuff in here. So if I wanted it, oh, let's say we want it red and we wanted that to say MacBites Show. Right, you can do that. You can include the date, you can include the time. So that's the first thing you've got, and then that's done and you have an extra stamp. The other way to do it is to import an image. Oh, you might be in luck here, because it looks like it will import PDF. And if it will import a PDF and it does have a transparent background, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Should we try that? Right, let's come out of here and see if we can do it. So I'm going to make a new file. When you make a new file, you get a blank PDF. From where I can click that and put that in it. So if we were to say that, we'll save this as the PDF and that's got our signature in it, can we import it? Then we'll find out, won't we? So let's do a save on that and we'll put it in the right place. That'll make a change. Right, signature, and it's going to be a PDF. So let's save that and we can close that file. Where are we back to now? Because we weren't editing that one, we're editing this one. Right, so I've got a PDF in there. So if I add a stamp and do an import image, and I've got a PDF, will it let me import it? Yes, it will. Obviously, it's the wrong size. I would have needed to crop that first, but yes, it will. So as long as your things are PDF, you should be fine. Now, I don't know if it would work with anything else. We would need to test that, wouldn't we? But while I carry on, you could test that in Designer and see if it will do it with an SVG or an EPS. Try that, but it will definitely work if it's a PDF, so yes. Right, so we've done the signature thing. This thing, which is the last one, where are you disappearing to? That's me making selections. So once I've got that, I can make a selection. But remember, all of this, annotation. All to do with annotation. You are adding to what is already there. You are not editing what is already there. So I'm going to undo multiple times and get rid of all of the garbage. So I've got something that I can play with down the bottom here. And turn off the annotation mode. So I'm going to go into edit mode. Now, all that's changed is these four options at the top. But now when I hover, it's trying to make a best guess what I might want to edit. So I've got this chart, but it's not doing much with that. That it will let me click and select. That one it's doing much better with. I can hover over that and it knows it's part of my document. And that's a paragraph and that's a paragraph. So it's being quite granular, but what it's doing is making a guess as I hover as to what I might want to change. So if we go down and we get some nice clean text down here, you can actually double click into there and select words and make changes. So if that should have been question, I can actually go in and fix that. Now there's a couple of caveats with that. that worked. But what's this font? And what if you don't have the font on your system? Well, up here, when you've got your text tool selected, it will actually tell you what this font is. And I don't know if I've got the graphic font on my system or not. As long as it's embedded in the PDF, it doesn't matter if you've got it installed or not. It will allow you to edit using that font. If you try this and it doesn't work, there could be one of a few things wrong. The first thing is, not all PDFs are equal. Some PDFs are a photograph, they're a scan, and they have not had any OCR run on them. They're just pixels. And if they're just pixels and you try clicking on it, you're not going to get anywhere. It needs to be a PDF that has been created in a certain way. Now, the certain way I refer to is when you've got an application and you make a PDF from it. The other PDFs are usually when they've been scanned. Now, you can take a scanned PDF and end up with an editable copy to some degree. But the issue you have with that is to get it to be editable, you need to OCR it, optical character recognition it. And then you've got an editable thing. But below the text in your PDF, the photograph is still there of the text. So it could look like you've changed the top bit but not the underneath bit, and then it just looks really odd. That's because not all PDFs are the same. But the majority of PDFs that are created on the desktop these days do tend to have everything that you need embedded within them. But you could still have problems. And that will happen if you try to compress a file. And to compress the file, it needs to get rid of as much as possible. And one thing it could decide to get rid of is characters from the font. So if the Q character has not been used anywhere, you might think I'll dump that. That does not help you when you come in here and you change this word to question. There's no Q. So it comes through in the wrong font because that does not exist in this file. But I'll show you that when we compress the file. Okay, right. So we've gone in and edited some text within it. The next thing we can do is choose this image tool. And over here, as I'm hovering, you can see it knows that that's an image. And what it can do with that image is it can replace it for another image, just as if this was a Word document, which is so powerful. You can even export this image. So just save that out. It says untitled. We'll just say building. And now you've got a JPEG copy of it. Full quality by the look of it, 500 and odd K, and it's been exported. So if you wanted to use that somewhere else, you've got a document and somebody says, I like the picture in it, want to put it in a presentation, you can actually get that out there with an export. Or you could choose to crop the image. Another thing you can do with the image is, once it's selected like that, you could just copy it. And I'm just going to go to preview and say new. And what's on the clipboard will be your new document. It's no faster. I've still got to save it at this point. You know, it's untitled, but it's just another option if that's what you want to do. I will say no, I do not want to save that because we've already done it. One of the benefits of doing it that way, though, you may have noticed there, let's just do that again, show you the benefit, is when you do it in preview, you're not doing it for me now, are you? There we go. Right, when you go to save, because this document is not already saved, it does let you save it in different formats. So you could say for best quality for print, I'm going to save that as a TIFF file. And away it goes. Whereas the export, less so. But there you go, you've got images that you can play around with in there. Other thing you can do is add links. So if somewhere in your text, so down the bottom here, let's get into the text and add some text to it. So let's just say we want to put MacBites in there, and we'd like that to actually be a link. Then you can use the link tool, and you can select that, and it says no destination. That's because you get options up here of what to do with it. So you could put in a link to a specific page, and when it's talking about a specific page, it means in this document. Your other option is to link out to the web, which is exactly what I want. So put that in there, And that's it, it's done. You know that it's done because down here it's got this blue on it, and it actually tells you, shows you. You can usually see it in white. You could before I clicked away. So we've got that. And then there's the redact option, of which there's two. You can have a redaction where something is blacked out. You can also choose to erase it completely. So one will black it out. So if we don't particularly want that in there, you can do that. The other option is to actually erase something. So if we take that bit there, it will actually go away. The third option in here is find and redact, where you're looking for a particular word. So I have no idea what word we may have in here. More than one of. Shall we try that one? Or we could put MacBites, couldn't we? But then that's a link and we don't really want to do that. So let's go into our redact and do a find and redact. Right. We need to put a word in the top. So let's put that in. And it's in two places. And we can decide there whether we want to erase each one individually or erase them all. You can also come out of that, go into the blackout, find and redact, put that in, and this time instead of erasing it, it's actually going to black it out. So I'll say black out all. That's really good if you've got a document, particularly like school documents, and it's got the names of children in it, that you can do a search for the name of the child and it will black out the lot. Do be aware with the redact tool though that people get clever, don't they? And they start working out the size of the font and then calculating how many letters it is. It's a bit like trying to work out a MacBites poster, isn't it, Mac? So do be careful with that. Oh, poor Renee. Is he pulling a Jonathan? Poor Jonathan. Right, okay, so we sorted that out. We've redacted it. Right, when we come out of these modes, so we're out of annotate, we're out of edit. This document then, as we hover over MacBites, it actually goes to MacBites. So here, on the other page, is Welcome to MacBites. Yay! Right, let's get rid of that one so I can see what's going on in the chat. Awesome. Right, so let's have a look what else I've got in here. Done all of those. Right, one option you've got in here is to set a password. So you can go into File and you've got Set Password. Don't rely on that. Seriously, don't. Just don't go there. These passwords can be cracked as soon as you look at them. But it is an option if for whatever reason you think the person that you're sending it to or the person that you don't want to read it would not be savvy enough to be able to remove a password. But, you know, it only takes a quick Google and the password's gone. But the option's there. Right. One of the things that I use every single week. So let me get this, which is the parish newsletter for this week. Good grief. It really is for this week. Right, let's do the fit page on this. Right. There is a range in here of pages. So these are the bookmarks that are in it. There are no bookmarks. This is the outline. There's no outline. These are the annotations. We've not done any annotations, so they're not there. But this is the thumbnail. This is the view that I usually have. So this has the entire newsletter in there. And I think this week's was 13 pages. Right, so what I do with this, once I create the PDF. So it's me that creates the PDF. The next thing I do is go in and look at the pages. And I look at this one, which is the maths page. And that's no good to man the beast because it's sideways. So this is when I come into this view. I don't need to add any pages or anything, but I do need to rotate that one 3 times because then it goes upside down. And then I've got that rotated nicely. If I did want to export any of these, so if we wanted, what have we got in here that might be useful? Maybe the masses, that would be useful. You can just drag and drop that out and it will give you just one page. So that is now just one page of that newsletter. And you can do that as, you know, as many times as you need to for the bits that you need to take out. Pages wise, if we decided that our retired priest and his saga this week needs to be further up in the newsletter, then even though this was made in Microsoft Publisher, I know, don't ask. we were going to go into, I just persuaded them to buy Affinity Publisher, and they bought it, and then we went into lockdown, and I've not been able to get back to do the training. So I'm still suffering with Microsoft Publisher. But in here, I don't need to go back. I could move those up there. Can move all of these pages around. You can duplicate the pages. You can add extra pages. It's just fantastic. And all of that is available from the buttons. I'll just close it and show you. This waffly button, the 4 squares button, the page thumbnail button. Those are all of the things that you can do in there. So I've reorganised it now as well. I don't particularly, with this one, need to add any more structure to it, because the majority of people who get this are, being honest, they are doing it, they're looking at it on a phone, and they're not looking at it anywhere else. So to have an index, they probably don't even know that there's an index feature, so we'll leave it alone. But the problem with this is it's going via email. And because of that problem, we do not need this file to be 3.3 meg. So what we can do in here is File, and you can reduce the file size. So you can take it with a medium export from 3.3 meg to 1.4, which is much better. You know, you're looking at 58% smaller. You could take that to low res, but you're not gaining much more. So I tend to leave it at medium. Now, you've got two options. You can either save it, which will overwrite the other one, or you can do a save as. When it does a save as, it actually adds optimized to the end. So I'll do that, and that one is now optimized. You can see here we've now got two copies. One is 3.3 and one is 1.4. And we've actually got both of them open. So that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? That would be a good time, not that one, this one here, to do an A/B thing. You know, what do you want to see in the B one? So we're looking at this one first, which is our initial export. But this one over here, rather than open a file, we can actually click on a file and it will load it in next to it. And there we go. And that bit, I can sync and scroll that. And now look at it and see, are there any particular pictures that have gone really bad because I've compressed it? And no, not really. They're quite tiny to start with. Oh, I see the Pope gets 2 appearances this time. Oh, 3, there he is. It was rather jolly there, actually. So no, compressing that has done no harm to it whatsoever. So that's when I would use that particular feature in anger. And it works really, really well. Right, other options you've got in here. I'm just going to go back to the report and wrap up these options that you've got that now might make more sense. So this report that we've got, we've seen the thumbnail option here, but there was a bookmark option. So if this is a long document and you want to bookmark part of it, maybe like this bit here, then you could add a bookmark to that. So if you hover over the top right hand corner of a page, a bookmark appears, and that is going to be where you go back to. Now at the moment it's calling it page 3. Actually this is our page 2 because page 1's a cover. And you could also put in there, you know, what it's about. So in this case, let's say the new building. And then it's really easy to navigate forward and backward. Now, if you want to create a structure from a document, then you have an outline option here. Sometimes this is pre-populated, but this has not been pre-populated from pages. But in here, you can find bits that you want. So say like that bit. And you can right click and say add outline item. So that's the monthly report, company monthly report, but this is probably what we're going to want to be at the very, very top level. So I'm going to add that outline item. And the beauty of this is you just drag it about. So that one should be at the top and that one should actually be indented under there. And you can do that with everything. So if you want to put this bit and highlight that, right click, add outline item, and it puts it automatically underneath. So that was the building, wasn't it? And again, you can rename it, but this structure stays with the document and you can use it for navigation. So you click where you want to go. So if we want to say this bit here, we could grab that right in the middle of the chart and add it as an outline item and call it chart. And then you can navigate around the report and get to just the place you want. If you're going to start doing this with an outline, make sure you've finished before you start. Because if you find something missing that somebody wants to add in or something and you've got the original file, you're going to have to go out to the original file and then create another version. And then all the work you've done on the outline is wasted. So I leave that until the very, very last job. This option that you've got here shows you all the annotations. Now, obviously, we've annotated quite a lot, but you can see the bits that are highlighted, and it tells you where and when and by whom. And then you've got the bits that are underlined in red, and the wiggly squiggly green, and the arrow that I added, and that I added a text block of new text. Now, this is the annotations. It's all of the stuff that you did with the annotate tool, not the stuff you did with the edit tools, because the edit tools are actually changing the content, not adding to it. So that's what you've got in there. And then the last one you've got is your thumbnail track, where you can navigate it. And I remember spending an obscene amount of money on Adobe Acrobat back probably about 1994, wasn't it? I think it was about £400. And you needed to download some updates, and these updates were like 25 meg. But I was on a 33k modem, and it took like 3 days. It was agonising. So however bad £75 it feels, it's not as bad as what I had to go through back at the beginning. So it is a very, very good tool. And that's all the options that you have in there. So do we have any questions on that? It does do a great job optimising. With this one here, that wasn't the best of images to start with, so it didn't really lose much, to be honest. With the Parish Secretary, that is the one that has been edited. It's a little bit rougher round here, but it isn't going to make a difference the way people are looking at it on a phone. One way I found to get a file much smaller that doesn't even involve compressing it is when you look at the original, some people leave artwork outside the artboard. It all counts, it all goes into the PDF. So take it away from the source file first, because that will go into the PDF, and yet no one will ever see it because it's not on an artboard. But that's an aside, and that's to do with production rather than PDFs, but there you go. Okay, I've potentially got an absolute nightmare here.
Do you need a hand?
There are no words for it, Mike.
Oh.
Right, the plan was we would do an unboxing, but the webcams have got another thing on their mind. Let me see if this one's working. Are you working? You would be, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would be. Yeah. And you the right way round and everything, but they can't see you. Or can they? Oh, hang on. Right, let's get that going. I don't think so. I don't think you're going to give me a preview of the webcam, are you? You swine. No, you're not. Okay, well, you just sit there and record quite happily then. Right, the webcam is not playing ball. So, I have a plan B. You know that thing about going live? Yeah, I've got a plan B. My plan B is hideous. I apologise for the fact that the plan B is hideous, but you know, it'll work. So that's all that we need to know, don't we? That it will actually work. So, plan B involves photo booth. I know, I'm ashamed, but it's working. So if I go into the view, well, it's sort of working. You'll notice in here there's something to do with flipping new items, and it doesn't matter what I set that to, it's not flipping. So it's backwards, but never mind, you know, a toy's a toy, isn't it? Even if I do that, it doesn't flip round. Nothing shifts it. So what I'll do is I'll get that into full screen view, and you should be able to see something while I unbox. Not quite up to usual standards, but you know, needs must and all of that. Where my webcam should be, no, don't start. I've not clicked anywhere else. Where's my mouse pointer gone? Yeah, stay there, don't move. Can we manage that? Excellent. Right, where's the box gone, Mike?
Down here.
There we go, we have a box. Excellent. Right, there's the box, totally unopened. Now, don't start your focusing malarkey either.
Kim wants to know what the little plants are.
The little plants are an ornament. Don't panic, they're plastic. If they weren't plastic, I'm not saying
They'd be dead by now.
Well, if they weren't plastic, they would be dead by now. But I thought greenery was needed in the office. But I wouldn't rule out the fact that I couldn't kill plastic, because I probably could. In fact, I'm surprised they've not melted already. What did you call them yesterday?
Watercress.
Why is there watercress on your desk, said Mike. Lola, on the other hand, stuck her head in the box that they shipped in, and there was 4 of them, so there's 2 in a box, and they were on the floor, and she stuck her nose in, and I said, what are you doing in there? And she stuck her head in more, sniffed, looked up at me, and just shook her head, as though, idiot, they're plastic.
Well, Sarah and Debbie like them.
Oh, good. Right, this is going to be interesting. Right, there it is. So there's the toy. Now, what have they done with this? Crying out loud. Right, let's grab one of the toys out and put it there, like that. Right, and then let's grab some more toys. You will notice as the toys come out of the box that they all look remarkably similar, don't they? That's because they are. Right, let's get rid of the box. But what can I say?
I'll put that in the blue bin.
Yes, it's a bargain. So let's get that out of the way and let's get one opened. Clearly, I had the second sight. What on earth's that? And why is it on my desk? I had the second sight with the webcam because it's a webcam. So let's open the webcam. Not much in the way of instructions with it, I see. But it's a 1080p high definition webcam. So what happened was I saw this. That's backwards, isn't it? But you get the idea. I saw this advertised and I thought, really? That must be diabolical, as it was £10. And the Logitech ones that we're using right now, are 160, I think. So I thought, this is going to be appalling. There he is. So I got one. I thought, for £10, I'm going to try it. And if it's diabolical, it can go back. So I tried it, and it's probably better than the Logitech. Couldn't believe it. So I said to Mike, I'm replacing all of the external ones with this. I'd love to show you, but as you can see, we've already got problems with the one we've got. So I'll gear it up for next week. But it's exactly the same as the Logitech. It's amazing. And it was £10. Let me try and get this open. There we go. That bit opens like that, and then one of these bits comes down somehow. Like that, I think. So that rests on the back of the computer. Let's pretend that that's a computer. No, I don't think we'll get away with that. We will like that, won't we? That's the front of the computer, like that, and that rests on the back. But the good news, as far as I'm concerned, is it's also got a screw fitting, which a lot of them do not have. We didn't pay that much for the Logitechs, thank God. But that's the price that they are now. And when I tried this, people's only criticism of it was, oh, the sound could be better. And I thought, oh yeah, there's sound on webcams, isn't there? Because I never, ever, ever use it. I've got microphones, so I don't bother. So it doesn't matter to me whether the sound's good, bad, or indifferent. But the quality of the video is nothing short of stunning. So I'm going to use this one next week because the Logitechs don't want to know. They don't want to talk to me. One thing I could try is actually plugging it in and seeing what it makes of it, on account of the fact that it doesn't think the Logitech one's there at all. It is. It's next to the other one. So what I'll do is I'll unfurl the cable and I will unplug the Logitech that doesn't think it's there to start with. And, oh, it didn't like that. Oh, it is. It's thought of that. Well, hang on. Never mind. Let me plug the new one in and see if it can find it. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Now we need to be the other way up, don't we? There we go. Potted plants. And, oh, hang on. Oh, it's still backwards. Crying out loud. Don't do that. So I'm going to have to go the opposite way. Oh, this is ridiculous. I'm losing myself here. But there you go. There they all are stacked up. So I actually think that is clearer. It's much sharper around the backwards Apple logo, isn't it? And of course now you can see my plants. Who doesn't need to see my plants? I need them to smell like something.
Ignacio says he stepped away. Did he miss the unboxing?
Boxes? Oh, hang on.
Boxes. The unboxing is
The webcam.
A webcam, which is in use right now.
And you know what? This is unbelievable. Let me get rid of this. Obviously, this is... Oh, we have a phrase for that, don't we? A about face. Right, I'm going to shut Photo Booth. Because guess what? Oh, you said you were there and then you weren't. Are you there or not? I'll tell you what, I'm going to add it on here because it seemed to appear. Let's have a look and see if it can find it. There you go. So in the middle of a live show, when the other one's carped out on me, this one's alive. And now it's the right way round. And it's in focus. And it was £10. And the other one's 160. So I bought 5. I'm going to install them on all of the computers. It's just so much better. Look at it. Oh, it's fantastic. And there's me with these Logitech. You're not in the market for a Logitech camera, are you, Mike? You know, if you particularly want to look blurred on occasion. Because this one's grand. There we go. We're heading across the other side now. Where we can see number 1 request here now. Hand sanitizer. There we go. You need, who doesn't need your hand sanitizer? Oh, and my lamp. This was my lamp. Now my lamp. Oh, this has its own thing going on. Does this? Look at this. Its own thing. There we go. So it can be all kinds of colours. Yes, I love my lamp. Oh, hours of happy fun. It's strobing on here, but trust me, it's not strobing at my end. So there's a lovely blue one, and there's a green one, and there's a purple one. Oh yes, I love my lamp. I think there's 2 of those lamps, but that's my lamp. And this is my other end, where I've still got on my desk. This is naughty, isn't it? I've still got all of this stuff from last week, all of the cards, and we got this today. Oh, it looks like Sammy. We bought Lola a treat, didn't we? Am I allowed to call it a treat? No, probably not. We bought Lola 2 more towels. She was thrilled. But we got a little thank you card in it from Lucky. Lucky the dog. Woof woof from Lucky. Ah, love it. So that's on there as well, along with all the rest of the detritus. But I have tried, all the while Mike was talking, I was trying to get the Logitech cameras to work, and the Logitech cameras were not working. But as you can see now, this one, straight out the box, no driver, no nothing, working fine. And this is why I decided to buy 5 of them, because who doesn't need 5 webcams for all the ones that don't work? Oh, I just love the fact that actually came on mid-show. Whereas the other one, I've unplugged it, plugged it back in. It's not having it. It just won't do it. But this one did, so there you go. That's what I bought. Right, I need to switch back to presentation to give you the link. Can you get the link in there, Mike? I think it's gone up at the moment. It's gone up to £11.80. But trust me when I say it's worth it. So I'm going to put that down so I can do the magic buttons at this end. And get in. That's it. It looks identical to the Logitech. It does. And Michael put the link in for you.
I will indeed.
Oh, I'm loving that. And they'll even work on the ball head that I've got. I would say if you were using it as a camera, there's only one issue with it, which is there is an almighty red light on the front of it. But at least you know it's turned on. Right, so let's get the slides moving again. Coming up, we will be back with you same time, same place next week. If you've got a topic you would like covered, let me know. Also available on demand, youtube.com/ElaineGiles, and the After Hours playlist, which stretches all the way back to October 2018. And you can find that at macbites.co.uk/After Hours playlist. We are also still marooned at MacBites headquarters. I am even up to date with what I have processed. Not up to date with publishing them, but I'm getting there. Now I'm looking at my calm greenery on my desk. Obviously, I'll be on fire when it comes to writing stuff, won't I? Yes, it'll be fine. And that's the QR code. All of that happens on MacBites FM. So do join us. It wouldn't be the same without you. And we love you guys. If you love us, can you give us a like? Because it really makes a difference with YouTube. Or a comment. Comment would be good, wouldn't it? Right, to find out more about everything that I'm doing, you need to go to elainegiles.com/VIP. And to find out what's happening in the MacBites world, you need to go to macbites.co.uk/macbites-mail. Or you could join us in Slack. where we carry on the conversation. To do that, you need to go to macbites.co.uk/Slack, where we do have an absolute ball. We do. An absolute ball. Other than that, contact us in all of those ways. Like I actually have been putting an appearance in on Twitter, haven't I? That really is me. It's not a bot, it's me. Right, I need to switch over to that so I can do other things and see the chat, because now I've lost the chat. The chat was there, the chat is not there now because I moved it. Where did I put it? I have no idea where the chat went. Ah, there you are. You're hiding behind the other thing. Excellent. Right, let's get that up there. And I'm looking for it. Where is it, Kim? Elaine for the win. There you go. Tobin needed that red light. Kim, you can't miss it. Honest to God, you cannot miss it. I'll try and get... Obviously, I can't do a meta video of this. Can I get a picture and see how bright it is? Let's do that and see how that looks. You get an idea. You get an idea with this. Now, what's going to happen now is I'm going to try and post it to Cloud App. And Cloud App's going to say, you didn't log in for 5 seconds. And because you didn't log in for 5 seconds, I'm not letting you do that. Because that's what it does to me all the time. Right, let's have a go. Let's do the Cloud App thing. Cloud App. Thinking about it. Thinking about it some more. You can do it. Go on. It's uploaded. Right. So, what I will do, need to go and get that link. So let's get that link. Not the one of Mike asleep. There we go. That link. Right. That's what the red light looks like on the front. Awesome. Okay. Were there any questions? Because I might have missed them.
Yeah, there was a couple. Somebody said, Renee said, do they have a focus ring and can you adjust the focus?
Let me have a look. Doesn't look like it. It's automatic. But for £10, trust me. The Logitech ones don't either. But they are supposed to autofocus, but I've had terrible trouble with them when I'm showing my hand over the top of an iPad. They can't seem to focus on much. So I figured these couldn't possibly be much worse. So I actually have two on a stalky thing. Let me move that and then I can share it with you. Right, let's try that again. Let's move that there. Oh dear, there's lots of dust on that. I did dust once, I think it was the 80s. Oh, there's no point, it just attracts more dust. Right, let's see if I can show you what the other two look like. I think I can if I cut to that. So let's switch to that one there. Right, that's the back of it. So those two are the two I normally use. So there's the first one and the second one. One is attached to one computer, one is attached to another. So if we whip that round, you can see what that looks like from the front, like that. So this one is attached, that's this one. This one is attached to the laptop. That one, that little monster there, was attached to this one. It's on the stalk because I can't record and broadcast at the same time. So one records locally, which is that one, with the blue light on it. And the other one broadcasts to you. But they are attached, if we look at that, with ball heads, as you would put a camera on, so they can move. So whatever I used to replace this was going to need to be able to do the same thing, hence this having a screw attachment at the bottom. But the red light, not quite as subtle as the blue thing there. That's, you can even see the red light, can't you? Yes, Tobin would not have been under a misapprehension of what he was broadcasting if he had that, trust me. Right, but I need to do the other thing, don't I? Which has all moved around. Oh, this is putting me off. Which is that one. Right. We're not quite there yet, but it's getting to be tight. It's getting to be really tight. I think another 2 and the year's sorted. But let's add one more. So we're 27 to 2. I think 28 to 2. Could you still get a draw at that point? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But that's where we're up to at the moment. So, were there any other questions, Mike?
No, everyone's saying good night.
Okay. Right, I will get that off then and replace it with that. So let's do that. And of course, we all have to say, good morning, Jonathan. So don't forget to put that in the chat, because he catches up in the morning and he will watch and he'll be reading it all. So do that while I go and find a frame to put this thing in from the dog. It does look like Sammy, doesn't it? Mm. Sammy was a dog that we sponsored at the Dogs Trust. I think he wasn't he about 18?
Yeah.
How he lasted as long as he did, I really don't know. He was an amazing dog. But he couldn't live in a house with anybody.
He didn't like people.
He didn't like people. Do you know he'd have fitted in here very well. Mm.
He's too peoply.
It's too peoply outside. Yeah, but you see, maybe he just had that thing before COVID. Because it's COVID-idiots I've got the problem with. Rational people I'm fine with. I just can't find many of them in Manchester. Oh, we didn't talk about this. But this week the COVID stats came out. And apparently it's 25% higher in Manchester than anywhere else in the UK. So this explains my loathing for local people. They are all COVID-idiots. There you go, we were right. Oh, I'm loving it that you're all saying good morning to Jonathan. Let's get Jonathan to say hello back in Slack. That would work well. So I'm going to put that little webcam in there, in its little bag, and then I'm going to sort all this stuff out. I don't like it when my desk gets to this state where there's detritus all over it. But there's detritus all over it. So I need to sort it out. But obviously not new potted plants. They're not detritus. No. Okay, I'm going to say good night to each and every one of you. But as I say, we will be back next week. But for the moment, it's good night from me.
And a good night from me.
And we will both see you next time. Stay safe, guys.